Welcome to the Cooling Center Studios on WGU 88.1 FM. My name is Artie Abrego. And before we send it out to Ben Korak out at Michigan Tech, it's the Falcon Hockey pregame show. I'm Artie Abrego, joined by Dan Ridenauer and Nathan Burkett. Guys, how are we doing tonight?
We're doing really well. Thank you, Artie.
Can't complain.
And guys, Falcon Hockey in the midst of a pretty big cold streak as we head into the end of the season, really, the final regular season series between the Falcons and Michigan Tech. And the Falcons, the past couple games, have been on a cold streak. They fell 4-2 against Augustana, and then a 4-5 loss against Minnesota State. And then the following night, a loss in the shootout, which will go out as a tie in the record book. But Falcons went away without a point against Minnesota State. Where does heading into this game against Michigan Tech, where are the Falcons looking at, and where do they stand as we get closer to the playoffs?
Well, right now they stand in 5th place, which is notable because only the top 4 teams only the top 4 teams in the standings get home ice advantage. And to be honest, if they want home ice advantage, because this weekend some of the teams are ahead of them that they are within reach of, Minnesota State will be taking on Northern Michigan, so that should be an easy sweep for the Mavericks, as Northern Michigan is the only team that's already been eliminated from playoff contention in the CCHA. And St. Thomas is facing the Bemidji State Beavers, who have struggled in the later half of the year, so that should be another big series for St. Thomas. So the only way, realistically, if BG wants home ice, is they're going to need to go into Howland, Michigan tonight against the Huskies, and they're going to need to steal home ice advantage away from the Huskies themselves.
Exactly, and this is really just kind of the odds stacked against Bowling Green, if you will. But, I mean, Michigan Tech, a team right now that's second in the CCHA with goals scored so far this season with 113. So, it'll be interesting to see kind of how the Falcons take this information. I mean, they have a strong defensive presence, mainly led by Gustav Sternberg and Ty Higgins, mainly kind of the two, if you will, go separate ways. But, I mean, I digress. So you look at that. You look at the difficulty they had against Minnesota State. Looking at tonight, it's really just about this last weekend. It's an all-or-nothing scenario. And you looked in the month of January for Bowling Green. Nobody expected them to be in the situation they are. But when you look at the game of hockey and how versatile it is and just how fast things can change, especially with the CCHA conference that's just so tight-knit and packed together this season, we'll see what Bowling Green can do this weekend.
Also a big matchup for Michigan Tech right now. Currently, as the Falcons rest in 5th place with 44 points, Michigan Tech is currently tied, sitting right now in the 3rd place with the St. Thomas Tommies. Both teams have 48 points. Right now, Augustana is at the top of the conference with 50 points. So it's a very interesting matchup with Michigan Tech. They're looking to come away with this series with a couple wins, some points, really get them up because they're still very much in contention for that first spot in the conference right now.
Mm-hmm. And we mentioned if BG wants home ice advantage, they're going to need to take 5 points. No less, maybe more. But so at worst, you can lose a game in overtime. If you lose these games you can win a game in overtime. If you lose either of these games in any way, doesn't matter if it's in regulation, overtime, or shootout, your chances of home ice are done. You need to win both games.
You really do. And I mean, while home ice advantage is extremely critical, and Coach Willie has talked relentless this season about how much of a difference Madhouse on Mercer is, how big the student section is, the Falcon Fanatics, the Bleacher Creatures, you name it. It's not the end of it. And Bowling Green still has a situation where they can go on the road and they can compete and they can be successful. But, you talk about how close it is right now. Bowling Green with the 44 points, Minnesota State the 46, and then Tech tied with St. Thomas with 48, and then Augustana just at the top with 50. I mean, this could really change in a blink of an eye. And Bowling Green right now, as you said, just has to get that 5-point minimum. So really a difficult task, but it's nowhere near impossible.
All right, so we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll more talk about tonight's matchup, and we're going to take a look around the CCHA for more action going on tonight.
Falcon Media Sports Network and BG Falcon Media takes pictures for nearly all BGSU and Bowling Green related events throughout the year. Head over to bgfalconmedia.com, check out thousands of photos and all the content.
BGSU softball finishes their weekend series down in Charleston, South Carolina against Charleston Southern on Saturday, March 7th at 2 p.m. Check out the recap of the game from the Falcon Media Sports Network softball beat team on bgfalconmedia.com. Your home for all BGSU athletics, news, and updates.
Welcome back here to the studio. It's getting closer and closer to game time here. We still have a couple minutes left before then. It's a couple we're sending out to Ben Korak, who's made the trip up with the team. But before we do that, there's still a lot of this series is going to be very tough for Bowling Green as we look into it. It's the last, as I mentioned earlier, it's the last season of the regular series before the Mason Cup quarterfinals. Guys, what's this matchup looking like tonight? Because right now Michigan Tech is in almost secured space of, on the verge, if they come out of this series with a couple wins, of getting that home ice advantage. What is this matchup looking like tonight between both teams?
For the Falcons, again, it's do or die. For Michigan Tech, it's also a little bit do or die. No one wants to be the team among this top five that's going to be going on the road. And there's a couple really dangerous players on this Husky team that BG's going to have to watch out for. Mainly Steven Sardarian. He's been a dangerous player all year. 41 points. Pretty sure leads the entire CCHA in points, is tied for 8th in the NCAA in points. He's a dangerous player. 30 assists on the season as well for him. Max Koskapirti is another one, 33 points on the year. And then a player who has been impressing all year is Trayden Trumbecki. As a freshman, 13 goals, 11 assists, 24 points. Throw in Isaac Gordon, Jack Anderson back on the defense. This is a scary team that BG's going up against tonight.
It really is. I mean, you talk about 3 losses that they've had in the entire year. I mean, so we're already 2 months into it, and you just get that going. I mean, you get Air Force and then St. Thomas and then a Northern Michigan game that was just a little more difficult for the Huskies. But, yeah, you talk about a team that's got 994 shots on goal, something that Bowling Green struggled with in the Minnesota State series. So you continue on with that. This is a team that averages 3 goals a game. This is a team that averages 29.2 shots. When you have to go against that Bowling Green, I guess, last line of defense, if you will, on either Steinman, Moore, or Palmer, it's just going to be a, I guess, masterclass, if you will, for Michigan Tech as they've put themselves in this position to succeed against the Falcons.
And right now, looking at their schedules, Michigan Tech is coming off a bye week. So the last time they played was just about 2 weeks ago against Lake Superior State. How much do you guys think that affects the matchup heading into it? Because one team has been on a break for a week, but the Falcons have been played last week, but they didn't succeed. How much do you guys think that affects the matchup?
Usually I would say it would affect it more, but in this situation, this late in the season, both teams are in a do-or-die situation. I don't think it'll affect it that much.
I don't think it will either. I kind of can agree with that. But the biggest, I'd say, effect, if you will, for Michigan Tech that's going to be in their favor is they get the privilege of ending the regular season at home, where Bowling Green just concluded their regular season stand at the Madhouse on Mercer to Minnesota State last week. So it's going to make some impact, but I think just having that home ice presence to end the year is going to be more of an impact.
So looking around at some of the other games going on right now in the conference, at 7 o'clock, Ferris State is taking on Lake Superior State. At 8:07, just an hour after our game begins, Northern Michigan will take on the number 18 Minnesota State. And at 8:07 as well, St. Thomas, number 17, will take on Bemidji State. So a couple of 4 games going on tonight, including Bowling Green. But looking ahead at other things, the games before the Mason Cup. Obviously, the Falcons, we mentioned it earlier, and I believe we talked about this on the Zig Zone on Sunday last week. They have to come out of this series. They're looking to come out of the series with a sweep, essentially, in order to maximize and get that home position, home ice, in the Mason Cup. What mentality does the team need to have tonight, and what players would you like to see step up for the Falcons as they head into this series?
I need the defense to step up if you're the Falcons. you just need everyone, honestly, to step up. I mean, there's a bunch of really good players for the Falcons. You have Tyler Hodson, 11 goals, 27 points a season. Quinn Emerson leads the team in points, 38 points in the season. Again, it's going to come down to who wants it more. And if some of the listeners, maybe after last weekend's series against Minnesota State, were perusing CCHA social media like I was, they may have seen that a lot of fans around the CCHA don't like how the Falcons play. They don't like the big physicality. They don't like the hits. They don't like Gustav Sternberg constantly getting ejected for questionable checks. But if that's what it's going to take to win, that's what it's going to take to win. To quote the show Shorzy, if you get dirty, get ugly, get the job done. That's your only. It doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter if it's pretty or ugly. Get the job done. Get the 5 or 6 points. Get home ice advantage.
Just to piggyback off the physicality real quick before I get to my point, Sternberg, very physical. That presence for Bowling Green going to make a huge impact tonight. I mean, a guy with 94 penalty minutes this entire season. However, I will say he didn't get a single penalty against Minnesota State. He was more mellow, if you will, in that series. So I think there shouldn't be much of an issue tonight with penalties. But looking back, the biggest thing for Bowling Green tonight is going to be movement. When you look on the defensive side, a guy like Ty Higgins just can move the puck really well. He pinches down low, he gets up high quick, and then Tyler Hodson, Quinn Emerson move the puck really well. It's going to be all the legs. I mean, the legs feed the wolf. You're going to have to go in there tonight, keep it going. It's going to be all about the movement, just moving that puck and knowing that happy medium of moving it too much and not moving it enough. Because when you're on the power play and you're trying to move that puck a little too much, it's going to end up falling short 9 times out of 10. So what you got to do, you got to find that happy medium of movement and test Michigan Tech early.
Going back to Sternberg not getting penalties, while that is great, and compared to where he was getting kicked out every game, it's definitely good to see him stay out of the penalty box. You also have the question if he's taking too much gas off the pedal, because if you tell me he stayed out of the penalty box, my first thought is, that's great. Did we win the game? If the answer is no, then it doesn't matter. Nothing else matters this weekend but winning the games.
And, looking ahead to tonight's matchup again, according to Ben Korak out at Michigan Tech, the goalie right now warming up as of now is Tyler Palmer, at least currently. And then also for Michigan Tech, and this is my favorite part to talk about goalie matchups here on these pre-shows, Owen Bartskizwick is also in goal for Michigan Tech. So what is that matchup looking like to you guys? Because we haven't seen Tyler Palmer a ton this season, but with Jacob Steinman out, he's going to have to step into this sort of second position, trading the goals that Cole Moore and Jacob Steinman were doing earlier in the season. What does Palmer have to do tonight? Or I should rephrase that. What are you looking for a performance out of Palmer tonight, especially if he's starting if he's going to be trading off positions with Moore heading into the playoffs?
Well, would be Palmer's first start since Northern Michigan, where it would be the first game in the Northern Michigan series where the Falcons took a loss. But that was way back in December, early December, first weekend of December. So this is his first start in math's hard 3 months going on, just about. So he has appeared since then, both in a exhibition game and a couple weekends ago after a Jacob Steinman injury, but mentioning that Jacob Steinman's still out. So, again, Palmer's going to need to step up for the Falcons. He has proven previously in the season that he can, but at the same time, I would want the defense to do their best to kind of warm him up throughout the game, not give up big opportunities, kind of do their best to keep the workload low for him tonight.
And Palmer, a goaltender who's kind of gotten the short end of the stick, if you will, on playing time this year. I mean, 15 games played so far, half of Jacob Steinman. I mean, you see that, but you also realize this is an opportunity to kind of be an underdog story, to kind of look up and realize what's at stake and just get someone new in there, kind of try to shake things up, as Moore's been having a little bit of a difficulty as Steinman's kind of coming off an injury. So we'll see what can happen there. But, I mean, you talk about spoiler. This is an opportunity for Tyler Palmer to just play spoiler against Michigan Tech and then keep it going as well. So we'll see what else can go into play. I mean, Northern Michigan, a team that's just been a big spoiler to both Bowling Green and Tech so far this season, but this is Palmer's time to shine, and we'll see if he can do it.
And on the other side of the ice, you have Michigan Tech's goalie Owen Barskovich. There, I
Good
got it.
times to charm.
I was practicing it all before we went on in the air. How, as a goalie, he's a very strong goalie. He's averaging right now a .918 save percentage. What on the attack? Which Falcons are you looking for to try to get a goal against him? I know you mentioned, Nathan, earlier you want to see some dirty goals tonight, kind of get near the net, get him out of position. Who do you think is most likely of doing that tonight?
I got 3 names for you already. I have Tyler Hodson, who leads the Falcons in goals. He has 11 so far this season. Quinn Emerson, who famously last year in the first round of the Mason Cup playoffs against Michigan Tech scored an overtime winner. And then I have Ben Duran, who assisted on that overtime winner for Quinn Emerson last season during the Mason Cup playoffs and has been so good all season at finding the dirty goals. And when he doesn't get the dirty goal, he's able to get a dirty assist. Has 20 of them on the season.
And Nathan really just highlighting the big 3 there, but you want to get a little bit more obscure. The 2 that come to mind are Noah Morneau and Gustav Sternberg. Just something about Sternberg playing the point tonight just really seems like he's either going to get a perfect screen and get the back of the net, or he's going to set up the orange and brown perfectly, just down low from the screen off the rebound to get that one in. So, and then Noah Morneau, a guy who just was relentless against Minnesota State and could see it. It seems like this is going to be his time to shine tonight. Morneau, just a really just speedster out there, if you will, just a really strong presence. And then Sternberg as well. You can't go wrong without him. So those are kind of the 2 that aren't going to get the most recognition for a goal, but could definitely see it tonight.
All right, we're going to take another break, but when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the game before we send it out to Ben Korek.
Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
BGSU softball heads south to Charleston, South Carolina to face the Charleston Southern Buccaneers in a doubleheader on Saturday, March 7th at 2 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's Jacob Kopaz will have the recap of the game on bgfalconmedia.com, your home for BGSU athletics news and updates.
For the second straight year, Falcon Media Sports Network is partnering with WBGU PBS to broadcast Falcon men's and women's soccer matches. Tune into WBGU PBS YouTube's live streams to hear Lucas Kleinmeyer, Henry Costco, and other Falcon Media Sports Network talent on the call.
Welcome back here to the studio. Still a while away from game time, of course. We'll send it out to Ben Korek when the game is officially about to start. Before we do that, one of the things that Gavin Gill likes to do when he hosts this show is do a little bit of imaginary Pick the Stick. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Pick the Stick, over on the BG_FMSN X account, Lucas Kleinmeyer, Tyler Kavlitz, and Ben Korek, and also a select member of the Falcon Media Sports Network, play a game where they pick who they think will be the most successful player tonight, and they're awarded points based on goals, I believe, and also assists as well. So they get I believe 2 points for a goal, 1
2
point
points
for
a goal, 1 point for an assist. And if you pick a goalie, they start with 3 and then lose a point every time they get scored on.
Thank you for listening off the rules from me.
I take this seriously.
He does take this seriously. So I'm curious. I'm very curious with my 2 analysts here. Who is your imaginary Pick the Stick? Who do you think is going to be the most successful player tonight for the Falcons?
Well, I guess I'll start things off here. Tyler Hodson's the name to pick. I mean, you talk about goal scoring and just every good thing you can imagine. It's with Tyler Hodson, just out of Stratford, Ontario. So give me Tyler Hodson for tonight.
As mentioned, I take this seriously. I've been known to go up to the person who's selecting for Falcon Media Sports Network and politely ask them who they're picking to make sure it's a legitimate pick because I take the points seriously. With that in mind, I would take Ben Durant. He's been known to score a goal or two or an assist or two in key moments against Michigan Tech, and he's been really good so far this season. So I would pick Ben Durant.
And I think I'll have to go with Quim Emerson. If no one's, he's got leads BGSU right now with 30 points, with 9 goals and 21 assists. Obviously, I'm gonna hinge my bet on the assist numbers if he's gonna rack them up tonight against the Huskies. But again, a very tough matchup heading into Bowling Green with the Huskies. They're on a bit of a Falcons, as we mentioned earlier. They're on a little bit of a cold streak. They've had a couple losses in a row and a loss in the shootout, so they haven't had a win in quite a while. And guys, I know we've mentioned it a little bit, but heading into the Mason Cup, how important is home ice necessarily to the Falcons? Because if you look at the record, their home and away records are pretty much almost the same. They're 8-5-3 at home. They're 8-4-4 away. How much does that atmosphere matter for the Slater Ice Arena, especially if it's going to be during BGSU students, spring break when these games are going on?
To that, I raise you that the Ohio State game was over winter break, and it was still a sellout crowd. So even when students aren't here, the fans around the Bowling Green community have proven time and time again that this is a hockey town and a hockey area, and I'm sure they would pack out the Slater. Also, on a little bit of a selfish note, we want it to be home ice because it's a lot easier to cover games when it's home. So that's also a little bit of a selfish note, but going to the home, having home ice advantage, it gives you an advantage because you don't have to travel as far. You get a little bit of an extra practice day because you don't have to travel on Thursday. So, and also, if I'm the Falcons, depending on how this weekend series and the points work out, there's a chance if they don't get home ice that they might be going back to Michigan Tech next week, which I would not want to play the Michigan Tech Huskies this week and then come back home and immediately go right back to Houghton, Michigan to play them again. So getting home ice, even for 1 week, it lets the fans enjoy it. It gets your school and your program more money with ticket sales. Selfish note, it allows us to cover the game a little bit more easier. And then you have that advantage. You have the loud crowd. You have all those advantages over the other team. You have that extra practice day.
And, I mean, you talk about from a fan perspective just how that really impacts your experience with the team, how it really, ticket sales go up, everything like that. It's just a really positive thing for the university. On a selfish note, too, you talk about covering games. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, but when it comes to Coach Williams, I've never seen a coach talk so positive and so highly of a student section, of a crowd like head coach Dennis Williams has with the Bowling Green faithful. So I think really too, just that's where his mind is at. He knows how important it is to get that home ice and how impactful it is to be here. So you talk on that note as well, and really just getting that extra edge. And there's no other sport like hockey where home ice plays that much of a difference. I mean, you look at last year, Bowling Green taking on Michigan Tech at home with a big crowd. You talk about years prior when they've had to get Ferris State, and you get them at home too. So it really just builds that experience. It builds that environment for you that gives you the rest of the momentum and every chance you can get for the remainder of the Mason Cup.
All right, we're going to take our final break, but when we come back, we'll have a little bit more discussion before we send it out to Ben Korak, and then we'll also talk about some other things in Falcon Media Sports Network that will be available after the game and over the next week.
Bowling Green softball heads to Conway, South Carolina to take on the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Head coach Michelle Gardner's former team on Wednesday, March 4th at 4 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network will have a recap of the game on bgfalconmedia.com, your home for all BGSU athletics news and updates.
Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Falcon women's track heads north to Mount Pleasant, Michigan for the Mid-American Conference Indoor Championships on Friday, February 27th. Make sure to check out the recap of the event by Falcon Media Sports Network's Holden Ruck on bgfalconmedia.com, your home for all BGSU athletics news and updates.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces more feature stories about BGSU athletics than any other media outlet. Make sure to head over to bgfalconmedia.com and follow Falcon Media Sports Network at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date with all of our content.
You are listening to Falcon Media Sports Network coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Bowling Green women's tennis travels out west to face UC Irvine under the palm trees of California on Monday, March 2nd. Read the recap of the event by Falcon Media Sports Network's Jacob Kopaz on bgfalconmedia.com, your home for all BGSU athletics news and updates.
Welcome back to the studio here in the Cooling Center. We're on WGU 88.1 FM. Before the final regular season series of the season for the Mason Cup quarterfinals, Bowling Green is taking on Michigan Tech, ranked number 16. And guys, any final thoughts on today's matchup? We still have a couple of minutes before we send it out to Ben Cork. Any final thoughts before we send it on out?
There's, the bigger picture. There's trying to get home ice. There's last regular season series of the year. There's trying to get that 5 points. Just play your game. That's really, you got to not let those outliers, if you will, get to you. You just have to go out there and play 60 minutes of hockey, and either you're going to win or you're going to lose. That's as simple as that. So, you got Minnesota State, Michigan Tech, St. Thomas, Augustana in front of you, but at the end of the day, it's down to you to get those 6 points, and any way possible, you have to get them.
Well, there's another scenario where Minnesota State gets swept and the Falcons would move on up, but that seems unlikelier than not. So
statistically possible.
Realistically
not.
Probably
possible.
not. But the Falcons have to come away this series with a sweep to get those 5 points.
Exactly, and mentioned it earlier. Michigan Tech, ranked 16th in the nation. We've seen Coach Willie talk about previously how the Falcons have competed against ranked teams. Competing's not enough this weekend. You have to get 5 or 6 points. Even if you get 4, that's not good enough. That's a failure on the weekend. This is a business trip. It doesn't matter how you get the points. Get dirty, get ugly, get the job done, come home with 6 points, get home ice advantage. That's the long and the short of it.
And, when you look at the Mason Cup quarterfinals, looking at, that's a lot of these tough teams in the CCHA, which the Falcons have played, and they're heading into one of the matchups against one of the teams in the top 3, currently tied with another team for second with 48 points. How competitive of an atmosphere do you think? Obviously, we can't be in the arena right now, but how competitive an atmosphere and team the Huskies are? How do you think they're going to play against the Falcons tonight?
It's going to be a hard win for the Falcons. Michigan Tech mentioned they're one of the best teams in the CCHA. They have a very big fan following. In my opinion, along with the Falcons, they probably have the best fans in the CCHA, just in terms of filling out their arena and making noise. So on top of there being a tough team to play against, similar to playing in a Slater, it's a tough environment to play in. It's a loud environment. Their fans are on you, kind of like the Bleacher Creatures. So it's going to be a tough task, but if you're the Falcons, you've put yourself in this position. So no excuses. You got to get the job done.
Really, too, yeah. You just kind of have that scenario. Yeah, you talk about this is the situation you put yourself in. And as Coach Willie has said earlier this year, there's no more pity parties. There's no more feeling sorry for ourselves. There's just hockey that needs to go out and be played right now. And, you look in depth as well, just against these teams that you're familiar with, and these teams like Michigan Tech that you're going up against. you'll just look at the bigger picture, too, of this has been a historical rivalry, if you will, between these two. You look at Bowling Green, Michigan Tech, just two teams that are almost juggernauts, if you will, trying to go at it, trying to get every chance that they can. And really, it's going to be a little bit of an ugly one, if you will. But, I mean, when you look at Bowling Green going last year for the 4-0 victory on March 8th, and then it's really just the situation you put yourself in, and now's the time you have to go out there and execute.
All right, now before we send it out to Ben, finally, the national anthem is starting now. He just told me. So before we send it out, we have a couple more pieces of content going on Falcon Media Sports Network for the next following week. So today, Nathan Burgett, you'll be writing the recap of tonight's game. That'll be available on bgfalconmedia.com. Holden Ruck will be writing a sidebar. And, of course, I have Corey Withrow out there shooting photos, a photo gallery for the website. Tomorrow for BG Baseball takes on Sanford. Adam Duffin, he will be running the recap. Also tomorrow, softball, Dawson Pelter. He'll be running the recap as they take on Albany and Colgate. Saturday, it's senior night for BGSU men's basketball. That'll be game, or senior day, I should say, at 2 p.m. So I'll be on the call for that along with Tyler Kavlitz, Foster Rothstein, and Dan. You'll be running the recap for that. So we're going to take our final break, but we're going to send it out to Ben Korak in Michigan when we're back.
Falcon Media Sports Network now has a pregame and postgame show, along with intermission reports for every BGSU hockey broadcast, starting 25 minutes before each game. Make sure to tune in to hear insights and knowledge from Falcon Media Sports Network analysts. You can listen to every broadcast on WBGU 88.1 FM, your home for Falcon hockey. Also streaming on bgfalconmedia.com.
Check out bgfalconmedia.com for previews, recaps, photos, videos, and more of the Falcons.
Here from the John McInnes Student Ice Arena in Houghton, Michigan, the Falcons and the Huskies going to do battle here on the ice surface tonight with a lot to play for these two teams. The Falcons searching to climb out of the 5 seed and jump into a home playoff berth and hoping to go back to the Slater Family Ice Arena. And Michigan Tech really striving for the top. They have just a couple of points needed to do so in a favorable couple of outcomes between St. Thomas and Bemidji State. A lot of scoreboard watching for fans throughout the CCHA, but as head coach Dennis Williams expressed to me before the game started today, not really focused on that and focused on the game today. A big one between Bowling Green and Michigan Tech. Puck dropping right now between the two centermen starting today, Jaden Grant and Max Koskapirti for Michigan Tech. Here we go here from the McInnes Student Ice Arena, two of the best venues in the CCHA, the Slater Family Ice Arena and the McInnes Student Ice Arena. And the first opening draw won by Michigan Tech. They take it up down the right wing. It's Koskapirti, the centerman, along with Steven Sardarian, 40-point scoring left winger, and Isaac Gordon, the right winger. Sardarian gives it up, left side, quick shot over the head of starting goaltender for today, the Falcons' Tyler Palmer, the sophomore transfer from U Sports in the Canadian College Hockey League. Here's Hodson behind the net of Michigan Tech's goaltender. Unpack Tyler Palmer as we go along throughout the broadcast today. His first start since December of 2025. Working in, good shot, scores. Tom Leppa, it's waved off. Peeled it right off the red line. Leppa thought he had it. The Falcons cleared it away. A one-on-one breakaway for the fourth line center, and he beat Tyler Palmer, and maybe Palms got bailed out by the Red Iron. A huge play there for Michigan Tech. They're looking over toward the bench to see if there's going to be a challenge utilized here. And doesn't look like anything coming. It does also look like the puck stayed out. A heck of a call by the referee. He was down there on the goal line to make that call. He made the right one. And the Falcons drop puck to the right of Palmer. Lifted out to center ice. Tyler Miller centers it down and reforces it ahead for Michigan Tech, one of the best scoring teams in the CCHA. Top 3 in the CCHA in goals, assists, and points. Duran can't win the race to the puck. It's touched up by the sophomore defenseman Tyler Miller. And it'll come back down to a defensive zone draw for the Falcons. Palmer has not started a game since December 5th of 2025, has played only one game here in this year of 2026. 3 goals allowed in 47 minutes of play at Augustana in relief of Jacob Steinman, who was injured on a non-contact play. Just trying to cross from bar to bar and took an injury during that game. He exited the ice. Tyler Palmer came in and had a tough go at it. A couple of redirects in front of him from his own teammates and from the opposing team. Ended up beating him 3 times in the 4-2 win for Augustana. A tough situation, but nevertheless, a loss for Tyler Palmer. Right on the doorstep, BG clears it away up to the blue line. Reed Andreessen holds onto the puck. Prouty, the transfer from Lindenwood, dumped back down by Traden Trembecki, the freshman, lifted out to center by the Falcons, and they'll go on and chase. So no offensive zone possession for Bowling Green as Ryman goes on the forecheck. A minute and a half into the first period, the Falcons and the Huskies. Behind the net, Reed Andreessen with the puck. He outlets it down the left wing. A 3-man forecheck for the Falcons, but Michigan Tech breaks it. Down the left wing comes Latimer. He's picked away by Bowling Green. Pass out to center ice, disrupted by a screeching Brendan Boehm, and he's able to cut the play off. Falcons with the puck, recovery, back in. The pass ahead to Max Martin is intercepted. Michigan Tech dumps it, and Palmer plays it out. Underrated quality of Tyler Palmer's game, the third goaltender through 2026 a lot of the time. Cole Moore normally the Friday starter, and Jacob Steinman normally the Saturday, but Tyler Palmer a very good puck-playing goaltender. And now that I say that, I hopefully didn't jinx it, but he is very strong with the puck. He works right in, down the left side, back to Anderson. His shot, save made! Tyler Palmer cleared away off the blue paint. A rebound chance, it comes out to the blue line. The Falcons stifle that opportunity with Palmer spinning away from the bar. He makes a swing save there with the right arm. A big chance for Jack Anderson, the defenseman on the right side. The leading goal scorer for defensemen in the CCHA, and he's not happy about missing that chance. Tyler Palmer just spun the wrong way, and the puck laying on the blue paint is cleared away by Jackson Niedermeyer. A nice play by the defenseman to recover his goaltender. But a couple of very dangerous plays early for Michigan Tech. We're only 2.5 minutes into the first period. Koskapirti in the draw against Jaden Grant to the right of Tyler Palmer in the Bowling Green zone. Stjernberg lifts it up to center ice. It's chased down by Fasciano, who pokes it out to center ice. The captain, Isaac Gordon, away. Miller, another defenseman, forces it ahead. Miller and Fasciano, the second pairing of defensemen behind Jack Anderson and Callum Parker. The first 2 single-digit defensemen on this Michigan Tech team. A solid defensive unit and a well-moving defensive unit. Move the puck very well up the ice. A lot of their offense, while credited to the forwards, come from good defensive play. Ryman up the right side, tips it ahead. Anderson clears it away. The Falcons with ozone possession time here. Duran up to the blue line. It's McKinley to the center point. A shot in, knocked down in front, cleared away by Parker. Parker's pass is picked off by Crampton. He tries to feed it in the slot. Got it, goal line, worked in tight with the goaltender for Michigan Tech, Bartoskevich. And he's able to make the save with his left hand. Believe that's the first save of the game for Bartoskevich, the transfer from Lindenwood. Down at the goal line, Waters to wrap it in toward Bartoskevich. It's cleared away by Michigan Tech, but still inside the blue line of the Huskies. Back out, slap shot, right side, Karodiak bounces in toward Bartoskevich. He kicks it away without holding on to the puck. 16 minutes to go in the first period. The Falcons up at center ice. Bernie takes a hit away, or puts on a hit away from the puck. Crampton the victim of that, but no penalty upcoming to the Falcons. Might have been a soft call there, and there's an icing against Bowling Green resulted from Crampton out of position and in the Michigan Tech bench. 15:56 to go in the first period. No score between the Falcons and the Huskies. Benches in this rink, like Minnesota State, like Lake Superior State on the road for the Falcons, they have a bench that's across the way from their opponent. Michigan Tech on the near side of the ice next to the penalty box, and the Falcons on the far side of the ice, which is close to their goaltender first period and third period. Here's a shot in, no rebound, and Brandon Wynot will carry it up the left wing. Up to center ice, breakaway, Ty Higgins down at the goal line, too low. Low angle chance. No rebound for the Falcons. It's carried behind the goal line by Wino. Up to the blue line. Here's Higgins, backhand shot in toward Bartoskevich, and he holds on with the left-hand glove. We'll see how the benches play a factor in this game. They seem to nearly every time. We're mentioning that they're across the way, difference in how you move your man out of the penalty box into the bench, whether they enter the play or they go to the bench directly, or how you're able to move your players on a power play or a penalty kill given the period, and something to keep an eye on if you're a Falcon fan looking at the Bowling Green bench opposite that of the Huskies. Sternberg with the puck, looking for a shooting lane. Right side point, his shot in. Max Martin tries to dive out of the way, but catches most of the puck. And now with speed down the right wing comes Boehm. Boehm shot, good pass left side to Fasciano. Wrap in try to Tyler Palmer. He tries to shut it down. Huskies battling in and slapping at Palmer, but he's able to glove, and the Falcons able to clear the white sweaters away from their goaltender. 15-15 to go in the first period. A couple of in-tight chances for Michigan Tech. Two of them actually getting real in-tight and nothing beating the sophomore goaltender for the Falcons. Tyler Palmer, the University of Alberta last season, 26 games played, 1.9 goals allowed, .925 save percentage, and a 16-8 record. 5 shutouts with Alberta last year and a transfer to the Falcons. And ex-goaltender for head coach Dennis Williams when he was head coach of the Everett Silvertips in the Western Hockey League. So very familiar with Palms, and he's getting a Friday start today. Cole Moore on the bench. Jacob Steinman still hurt. That's the goaltending group for the Falcons. And that of Michigan Tech, it's been all Bartoskevich all year. 21-9-3, Bartoskevich's record, compared to the 21-10-3 record for Michigan Tech overall. That one loss going to Ryan Manzella in his one game played that he was relieved in. The only other goaltender on the roster, Bryant Lee, who has not seen a game in his Michigan Tech career. He is from Houghton High School here in town, though. Third goaltender for Michigan Tech. Sardarian tries to gain the entry down the right side. 41 points this season for Steven Sardarian, a big transfer from New Hampshire after 2 seasons ago to Michigan Tech was Sardarian. Kaskapirti behind the goal line. He tries to wrap it around back to Sardarian. It's to the slot. Kurodia clears it away right to the white sweater. Anderson gets picked off. Not a great play there by a veteran defenseman and the best one on the team this year for Michigan Tech. They lost Nick Williams to St. Thomas, who's a big scoring defenseman for the Tommies. He's been very influential this season. A freshman defenseman for Michigan Tech, a very promising one last season, but transferred after head coach Joe Shawn parted ways with Michigan Tech, and therefore setting up Bill McCult to become the head coach of Michigan Tech just in his first season here with the Huskies. 14:30 to go in the first period. A face-off center ice. Falcons and Huskies knotted up at 0. Must-win game for both of these two teams. Sweep for Michigan Tech puts them in big position to win the McNaughton Cup in the CCHA. And here's a breakaway down the left side. It's stifled by Palmer and some nice defensive work with the stick by Niedermeyer. Tried to wrap in. Palmer couldn't move. BG's trying to clear the puck away. Van Blaricom with big pressure. Held in the blue line. The Falcons get it out to center ice. Fasciano back to Van Blaricom. Down the left wing goes the freshman forward. Emerson tips it ahead with his skate. Doesn't clear the blue line, though, and it's bumped out to center. Grant takes a hit away from the puck. BG's bench wanted something. The puck a good 5-6 feet away from the skates of Grant as he was going to play it. 13:40 to go in the first period. Shots on goal led by 2 for Michigan Tech. Big check. There was Brandon Wynot behind the goal line. He gets the puck free as well. And Michigan Tech skates it out to center. Wynot's such an impactful player physically. His line has done a lot of good things today. He tries to force a pass to the left side. Levis, that gets picked off by the freshman Trembecki. Up the left side, he gives it up back to Anderson. Check into the boards. That was Noah Reinhardt. That was bumped. Down the right wing comes Jeremy Minville with a new line today, not with Jaden Grant and Max Martin where he was before. His pass gets blocked by an errant stick that's just laying on the ice surface here. In the corner, Bowling Green goes for the puck offensively and carried out by the defenseman Prouty. Prouty, another transfer from Lindenwood, following Bill McCult from his last position. Up to center ice. Crampton plays it ahead. Picked up by Adam Zlinka, but he lost it as soon as he could get his tape on the puck. Been a while since Zlinka has been in the lineup. Has extra skated, has warmed up a couple of times. Here's a good pass forward to Max Martin. His shot in is stick blocked. Nearly bounces over the head of Bartoskevich. Bowling Green loses the puck away. Cicek down the left wing. The extra skating forward is defended by Niedermeyer. Cicek lost the puck. Crampton off the half wall and ahead. Here's Duran. Backhand pass as Martin goes off the ice for a change. Latimer tips, and Michigan Tech does the same. 12 minutes, 10 seconds to go in the first period. Nothing the score between Bowling Green and Michigan Tech. Up the ice behind the net. Icing whistled off. Here's Ben Duran to the side of the net. Played there by Dominic Ryman. We're going to get, I believe, a hand pass against somebody, and the faceoff's going to come out to neutral ice, and it's against the Falcons. I've mentioned a couple of transfers today, 3 to be exact, all 3 of them from Lindenwood. Joe Prouty, 2 goals, 9 assists this season, the senior transfer from Lindenwood. Fellow defenseman transfer Jack Anderson, 11 goals, 12 assists, 23 points for the senior defenseman. And the goaltender, Owen Bartoskevich, he's also a transfer. He's just a junior, though. He's got another season with Michigan Tech, a great goaltender. Here's a shot in from Karodiak that goes wide left, and BG has come out to center to play it. But Bill McCall taking 3 influential players from Lindenwood to Michigan Tech, and I believe that Michigan Tech would not be the same team without their best defenseman, their true starting goaltender, one of the best in the CCHA, and a pretty solid defenseman in Joe Prouty as well, 3rd among defensemen for Michigan Tech in scoring. Norris tries to sweep it ahead. He gives it back to Tyler Palmer, who plays it with just the right hand on his stick and away. That's strong stick work from a goaltender. Prouty with it, backhand, BG gains the entry. Down the right wing comes Quinn Emerson with speed. He bumps it into the corner, back up to the blue line, held in nicely with the skate. Ty Higgins makes a man miss, go back for the puck. Right wing wheel, his shot, and saved by Bartoskevich. Still dancing around, blue paint, BG trying to feed it in, and it's whistled dead before the puck crossed the goal line. 11 minutes to go in the first period. BG with a solid chance, spurned from a big offensive play by Emerson to gain the entry and get all his guys in the offensive zone. And then a couple of nice moves by Ty Higgins to get open ice. Face-off going to come to the left of Bartoskevich this season. 2.3 goals allowed on average and a .918 save percentage again. Every game but one he started for Michigan Tech. 21, 9, and 3 is the former independent NCAA goaltender of the year, including all of the independents, including both Alaska's and Lindenwood and a couple of other teams registered as independents. And he was the best goaltender of any of those teams on just an 8-win Lindenwood team. 8-22-2 was the Lindenwood team last year, and the only season Bill McCall was their head coach. BG up to center ice. McKinley with a pass ahead. Emerson took a bad bounce off the boards. Emerson works in tight anyway. Tries to beat Bartoskevich, but he couldn't do it. Behind the net, Anderson leaves it in the corner. It's picked up by Elias Janssen. BG with the puck at their skate. Minville takes a hit. It's up to center ice. More 50-50 puck play the last couple of minutes for Bowling Green, who started the first 2 minutes with everything living in their zone, and then finally got back to buzzing and even with Michigan Tech. Behind the net, Andreessen around, back up to the blue line, played by Crampton. Away to Norris, left side. His shot in, deflected in front, farther away from Bartoskevich. In the corner, Prouty ties it up. It's carried out to center ice by Reinhardt, poked away from Janssen. Crampton back to recover it. You don't know how much you miss Braden Crampton until he's out of the lineup. He was the last game the Falcons played against Minnesota State, and their puck movement suffered very much because of it. The freshman defenseman has caught points a lot here in 2026. There's a breakaway. It was going to be offsides anyway, so it's stifled by the whistle. But Braden Crampton, scoreless in Game 2 versus St. Thomas, broke a 4-game point streak during that time, and then for a fight that went on with Reed Morick of Minnesota State in Friday Game 1 against the Mavericks, He served a game suspension and now back in the lineup today. The Falcons with a 0-0 tie, 9:36 through the first period. This timeout brought to you by Juniper Brewing Company, located at 145 South Main Street in downtown Bowling Green, featuring coffee, craft beer, and serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. See the latest menu at juniperbrew.com. 0-0 Falcons and Michigan Tech here on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Looking for a BGSU Athletics talk radio show? Tune into the Zig Zone every Sunday at 4 p.m., where a panel of Falcon Media Sports Network members discuss the hottest BG sports topics. Only on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Ever heard of Falcon Media Sports Network's broadcast on Falcon Radio or WBGU 88.1 FM but don't know where to listen? Well, set down the radio, pick up your phone, and go to bgfalconmedia.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to stream Falcon Radio and WBGU 88.1 FM for all broadcasts.
Ben Korak and the Falcon Media Sports Network crew covering the Falcon hockey team throughout the season.
Jack Anderson currently team leading, 3 shots on goal against the Falcons and Tyler Palmer today. Currently riding a 5-game point streak, 6 goals, 4 assists, and 10 points in his last 5 games played. Over half his goals this season just in his last 5 games played. The leader in defenseman goals in the CCHA. The Falcons' Ty Higgins tied with him, 3 shots on goal for the game lead in that category. Higgins scored a goal and an assist in the first game at Notre Dame in the last week of January and has not scored a point since, although he has improved his game a lot in the second half of the season in 2025-26. Didn't play the first half, and by talking to head coach Dennis Williams, you'd know that that was a sore loss for Bowling Green. 2 freshman defensemen that have been very impactful in Higgins and Crampton, and one of them wasn't able to play the first half. Sardarian pokes it back up to the blue line, a face-off win by Michigan Tech. Shot in immediately to Palmer that hugged the ice, and he tips it up with a stick into the netting in front of the John McKinnis Student Ice Arena sign and in front of all the jerseys from all of the NHLers that have come from Michigan Tech. 3 NCAA championships for the Michigan Tech Huskies over their history, 104 years now of Michigan Tech hockey. Those national championships, 1962, 1965, and 1975. The most recent national championship in this game, Bowling Green's in 1984. Something the Falcons hold over the head of the Huskies. Another shot in toward Palmer, and he casually makes a save. That from the point, and it was unscreened, so he was able to really see that one through as both teams will get a change and drop puck to the right of Tyler Palmer. 9:18 to go in the first period. No score between Bowling Green and Michigan Tech. 2 relatively high-scoring teams, 3.3 goals per game for Michigan Tech and just over 3 for the Falcons. The defense is pretty similar as well. Bowling Green, 0.2 goals per game, less allowed than Michigan Tech has. Argument to be made, their defense has been better, especially with a rotating crew of 3 goaltenders throughout the season, whereas Michigan Tech has been able to stabilize themselves with just Bartoskevich, the transfer from Lindenwood. Up the right wing, Hodson with a good move. He tries to work in tight, takes out Bartoskevich a bit as he slides over into the crease, but incidental contact with the goaltender, and not heavy either. Tom Leppa fires it into the corner. Van Blaricon will be the first there. Offensive zone possession for the Huskies. In the corner, BG with some defense, forces the puck away. Bernie lost his blade, and now the Falcons up. Hodson up the right wing, pokes it ahead, backhand. Emerson and Hodson will both peel off the forecheck, go for a change, and send a new unit out. Down the right wing, missed Janssen. Going to be an icing against Michigan Tech, their first taken icing of the game. And Bowling Green will get an offensive zone faceoff with their best faceoff man, Noah Morneau. Actually, he'll step off the ice, and we'll send back out Ben Duran. Some jumbling of the lines again today for BG and Michigan Tech as well a little bit. For the Falcons at least, Noah Morneau playing with Max Martin and Adam Zlinka, who's just in his 13th game played of the season. Zlinka is. Ben Duran with Ryman and Waters. Jaden Grant with Tyler Hodson and Quinn Emerson. That's an experienced first line for the Falcons. McKinley the shot in. Backdoor chance and didn't land. That was Ivan Korodiak that was crashing. He pokes this ahead on the backhand. Korodiak been quiet in some games that he's played this season, especially offensively. Korodiak touched his skate. Michigan Tech wanted too many men on the ice as Anderson has to go back, grab his stick. Right into the bench, Waters with a big check. That's a big body forward that throws his weight around sometimes, not all the time, and something the Falcons need to get a little bit more out of him. 6'3", 200 pounds is Brody Waters. Good defense by Niedermeyer. Step late to recover the puck, though. A shot in, now a low angle. Going in, back of the goal is Trembecki. He lost it in the corner. The Falcons poke it ahead. Zlinka for the puck. Hand pass forward by the Falcons, but Michigan Tech touched it first. Needing to get onside, but they can't. Latimer, without the awareness, took the puck in as Cicek was trying to get back on sides. We're going to get a whistle with 7:45 to go in the first. Michigan Tech has a bid for the third rookie of the year this season. That's Traden Trembecki. 2 goals and an assist last game against Lake Superior State. Broke the longest pointless streak of the season with 5 games, but he's one of the CCHA's rookie point leaders as well as the goal leader for this Michigan Tech team with 13 goals, 4 of which come on the power play. He's been very impressive this season. Now, I say a string of 3 rookies of the year because Isaac Gordon 2 years ago, now a junior, but 2 years ago, Isaac Gordon with a Rookie of the Year selection. And last year as well, Elias Janssen, now a sophomore with a Rookie of the Year selection. 23 points for Janssen last season. He's got 20 this season, so a little bit lower in point scoring, but has a chance to remedy that this weekend and in the playoffs. That'll be coming up for both of these 2 teams, the Falcons and the Huskies, just depending on where they will be placed. But after this season, if Trembecki is able to win the Rookie of the Year, which he's probably one of the favorites to do so, Michigan Tech will be able to put 3 Rookies of the Year for the CCHA on the same line in Gordon, Janssen, and Trembecki. Kaskapirti will go in the dot, first line center, playing with Sardarian and Gordon, the first line out there for an offensive zone draw. Jaden Grant, a big face-off, one there. Stjernberg to peel it off the boards, makes Gordon miss. It's lifted out to center ice. Nearly hit the Jumbotron here in McInnes Ice Arena, and it's sent back down off of the whistle. Don't know what the call was there, but looks like it's going to be offsides against the Falcons somehow with the only man into the zone. Quinn Emerson will go back after taking that offsides with Grant. Ivan Korodiak lining up on the right side of the circle. Out on the left side, Tyler Hodson. Behind the goal line, McKinley. Another faceoff win for Grant. 2 defensive zone faceoff wins. Emerson back in the offensive zone. Gets to the puck first. Around the net to Hodson. Hodson peels it out. Forces it into the slot. Picked up by Gordon. Gordon takes a check. Defensively recovered by Duran, who has to rink it in to Bartoskevich. Will stop it behind the net. 7 minutes to go in the first period. No score between Bowling Green and Michigan Tech. The home Huskies with the puck in their own end. It's Steven Sardarian. 11 goals, 2 on the power play, 30 assists for Sardarian. 12 goals scored by his centerman, Max Kaskapirti, who's the main recipient of Sardarian's passes. A check without a stick against Brody Waters. He'll go off to the bench and not grab a new twig. Higgins behind the net, and he'll wait for the new set of Falcons to get going. 6:30 to go in the first period. Time winding down for the Falcons and the Huskies to get their first goal of the game. And it's going to be an icing against Adam Zlinka and the Falcons from the red line. So it'll come back down next to Tyler Palmer. Nine shots on goal for Michigan Tech. 3 of them from Jack Anderson. 2 of them from Carson Latimer, and 1 and a smattering of other Huskies. 3 shots on goal for the Falcons' Ty Higgins, and then 1 from a smattering of other Falcons here in the Slater family. The McInnes Student Ice Arena. Sorry, used to be at home for this Falcon hockey team. home last week against Minnesota State. Only 1 point the Falcons took in a loss and a shootout loss. An unfortunate weekend for them, and now a lot of work to do against the Huskies. They need at least 5 points to boost them up to home playoff. That would clinch home playoff no matter what happens the rest of the CCHA. 4 or less, and Bowling Green needs some work to be done by Northern Michigan against Minnesota State that play today. Up back at center ice, Martin pushes it ahead to Minville. It's picked off. Van Blaricom on the forecheck. The freshman easily shrugged away. Stjernberg and Karodiak, as this one's tipped by Prouty at the blue line. An entry for Minville down the left side. He gets the puck away, tries to get it back up to the blue line. The Falcons on the left wing boards of the offensive zone. Stjernberg and Karodiak wanted to get over to the bench, but had to go get some offense. The Falcons looking for their first goal of the game. 5:30 to go in the first period. Puck still pinned up. Karodiak with a shot in. Down to Levis off of the deflection. Backdoor side and didn't land. A good pass by the Falcons on a good try. There was a deflection there that quite benefited the Falcons. Minville working in toward Bartoskevich, who played the puck. Why not in as well, but it's outletted by Michigan Tech. Ahead down the left wing comes Boehm. His pass didn't land to the right side, Latimer. And now Minville down the left wing, second entry of this shift. He gets it into the corner. BG crashes in. It's McKinley to poke it out to the blue line. McKinley fires it in. It's blocked by Boehm. Out to center ice. And Emerson, slap shot and around the curved wall of Michigan Tech's end of the ice. Jack Anderson, team leader in rating on the season with plus 17. The next highest is plus 14 for Joe Prouty. Out at center ice, Janssen to Trembecki up the right side. An entry for Michigan Tech down into the corner. Wrapped around from Reinhardt, fed in off of the Falcon stick on a stick block there. Trembecki up to the blue line. Reinhardt shot around the net. Stjernberg tries to clear it out. It's Emerson up in front of his own bench. A back check by the Falcons. Niedermeyer and Hodson connecting for the clear. 4 minutes to go in the first period. No score. Bowling Green offensive zone. Shot in toward Bartoskevich, and he'll have to glove and hold on with Ben Duran standing in front of the blue paint. 4 minutes to go in the first. No shots on goal from whistle to whistle for Michigan Tech and Bowling Green, going back and forth across your radio dial. Other games going on today, St. Thomas and Bemidji State. That's a big series for Bemidji, who normally plays St. Thomas very tightly. That game going on in Bemidji. Northern Michigan at Minnesota State. Bowling Green obviously at Michigan Tech, and Ferris State at Lake Superior State. Don't know that there can be any jumbling between the bottom 4 teams. I have to dive into it a little bit more, but that's Bemidji, Lake Superior State, Ferris State, and Northern Michigan. And Northern Michigan clinched, missing the playoffs for the second year in a row this year with a loss yesterday. Gordon, pass to the slot, Sardarian. His shot over the head of Tyler Palmer. He hasn't been worked that much late in the first period, but that was a nice shot from a 40-point scorer right over his head. Ryman on the left side, recovered. McKinley lost it for a second. Karodiak sweeps it out to the blue line, and Waters lightly carries it out. Now a breakaway. Dom Ryman down the left wing. He works in. Ryman shot! Missed wide left. Good chance for the freshman forward, and Bowling Green has it back in their own zone. A good rush for the Falcons. They try it again now. Zlinka with speed down the right side. In the corner. Played back out. Right side. Crampton gave it up. Morneau couldn't settle it down. Left side. He got a cross-ice pass from Crampton, and just a bit too hot for the tape of the freshman center. Now in the corner, back goes Morneau with Zlinka in the right wing corner of the Falcon offensive zone. 2 minutes, 45 seconds to go in the first period. Up at the blue line, not held in by Bowling Green, who circles back on sides, but they'll go for a change and allow possession to the Huskies. Prouty up the right wing, the defenseman's pass into the corner. The Falcons will touch it up first. It's Niedermeyer away to his defensive partner, Crampton, on this shift. Parker shot in, missed wide left to Burney. Back Burney behind the net, gives it up. Van Blaricom, good poke check, and away from Van Blaricom was Crampton. Now into the corner, tied up. Van Blaricom takes Hodson down to the ice. Hodson goes for a cross check. Puck pinned up in the corner. 50-50 in a battle here for the Falcons. Now Lepa, pass to the slot. Good shot. Oh, and he missed up high. Jack Anderson fired it above the crossbar. A great chance for the defenseman to add his 12th goal of the season. 2 minutes to go in the first. Some high-quality chances in this first period, and Michigan Tech really going to look back on those with some awe. That one just inches above the crossbar. Just in this first period, first time seeing him play this season, as the Falcons and the Huskies have not met up this year yet. He is everywhere Michigan Tech wants him to be on every play. Seems to be in the right areas constantly. Fasciano the shot. Blocked up high by Ryman, but he eats it easily and now goes back into the play. Latimer bullied into the boards by Stjernberg. That's what the Goose does best. 1:50 to go in the first period, no score. Stjernberg with the puck. Cicek around the right side of the net to play with Stjernberg. Now back up left side. Miller gives it up. Feed to the backside, just behind the skates of Cicek, who was open on the backside. Falcon defense being beat a little bit today. Higgins goes for a push against Latimer and turns the puck over and now goes back to recover it. Pokes back up to center ice. Max Martin blew a tire. Got it up to the right side anyway. BG with the puck. Onsides. Lost it for a second. Turned back over to Michigan Tech. Now picked off again center ice. Linka up the right wing with $1:10 to go. Pushes it ahead for Martin, who takes his man into the corner. Puck in the corner as well. Away for Anderson, who takes half of a check. The captain, Dalton Norris. Morneau, good shot. Bartoskevich never got through to him. Still dancing in front of him. He saw sight of it. 55 seconds to go in the first. It's cleared away by the Huskies. Up to center ice, Trembecki. Now Martin on the left side. Max Martin for Bowling Green. Dumps it in, goes for a change. Bartoskevich plays the puck out to the left side. 40 seconds to go in the first period. No score. Back to Ivan Korodiak playing with Stjernberg. Up the right side, Emerson takes a check into the boards. BG puts a hit on as well behind the net. Another one out in neutral ice. Sardarian up the right wing. Pass to the slot. Gordon gives it up. Koskapirti shot blocked on a cell by Stjernberg. Worked in tight with Palmer. He goes post to try and save the wraparound. 15 seconds to go in the period. Michigan Tech with the offensive zone possession. Behind the net, BG recovers as Jaden Grant with his face to the boards. He pushes it down behind the net, and the Falcons happy to go into the first intermission with a 0-0 tie. Stjernberg a bit worse for wear after he blocked that shot. A big one, Koskapirti, on good puck movement by the Huskies. He's leaning on the goal for support. That's one of the best defensemen Bowling Green has, as he'll go limp to the Falcon bench and off the ice. He'll have 15 minutes to try and shake that and skate back out, as the Falcons with a 0-0 tie through 20 miles of skating here after the first period. The John McInnes Student Ice Arena, home to the Falcons and the Huskies. We'll send it back to Artie, Dan, and Nathan back in the Cooling Center studio for our Rick Crow Fish and Dimension Report. You're listening to Falcon Hockey here on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Bowling Green women's tennis seeks to end a 3-game losing streak as they face Northern Kentucky at the Perrysburg Tennis Center on Friday, February 27th. Check out the recap of the match by Falcon Media Sports Network's Sam Bork on bgfalconmedia.com. Your home for all BGSU athletics, news, and updates.
Hey, this is Nicholas Winholtz, executive producer of The Swoop. Make sure to tune into The Swoop, BG Falcon Media's live sports talk show, produced by BG24, every Thursday at 4:15 p.m., live streamed on the BG24 YouTube channel, and is always available afterwards at bgfalconmedia.com. Your home for all BGSU athletics, news, and updates.
BGSU women's tennis wraps up action in the Golden State on Tuesday, March 3rd, facing Point Loma in San Diego, California. Read the recap of the match by Falcon Media Sports Network, Sam Bork on bgfalconmedia.com. your home for all BGSU athletics, news, and updates.
Welcome back here to the Cooling Center Studios on WBGU 88.1. The first intermission report is brought to you by Rick Crow, longtime BGSU hockey fan and listener of Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM. So, as you just heard from Ben Korak a couple minutes ago, the first period has come to an end. We are all tied up here, 0-0, 0-0 after 20 minutes of play. Artie Brago joined by Dan Reiner and Nathan Burkett. Guys, pretty aggressive start for both sides. Both teams both have 20 shots. Both teams both have 9 shots on goal. But neither team has really gotten to get one past the net. What have you made of the game so far as we're kind of in a bit of a stalemate as we exit the first period?
Well, you talk about kind of gritty. Nothing exemplifies that more than Gustav Sternberg just wearing one on the back of his leg to end the period. But this is a very even game. I mean, you look at the shots on goal, 9 apiece. 20 has been attempted for both the Huskies and the Falcons. Faceoffs 1 is eerily similar, with Bowling Green taking the upper edge 12-11. Block shots is only a 2 difference, with Bowling Green having 5 to Michigan Tech 7. This is a very even game. And sometimes we say that and it's off by like 3 or 4, but this is only off by 1 or 2 or dead center. Like, this is just a very even hockey game so far.
And you mentioned already how neither team has been able to work a puck past the goaltender so far, but couple really close opportunities, especially for Michigan Tech early on. Had a puck that beat Palmer, hit off the post,
go by, but was called back.
Just went across the goal line. Beat Palmer, wasn't able to beat the post. And Palmer made a couple of really big saves throughout that period. So Michigan Tech so far has gotten the scarier opportunities so far.
And we talked about it in pregame, but what have you guys made of Tyler Palmer's performance so far in this first period? I mean, a lot of game left to play, a lot of hockey left to be played. But what have you guys made of him so far exiting that first period?
Solid so far. I mean, we mentioned that really scary moment, but other than that, he stood tall, stopped all 9 shots he's faced, and again, other than that really scary moment, he stood tall, made the saves he needs to make. He made the saves he needs to save, threw in a couple really talented ones in there as well. So we mentioned BG needs to win this game if they want home ice advantage, and so far he's stepping up.
There was a lot of unknowns with Tyler Palmer coming into this one. We'd seen him earlier and saw him against Northern Michigan earlier in the year, but I guess specifically what he was going to bring to the table tonight, there was unknowns. But I'd say all those doubts, all those questions have been answered, if you will, after that first period. It was great to see him just go out there and kind of keep it to him and keep it even.
And obviously, still a lot of game left to be played. Whereas in the first period, and we mentioned it before, it's a stalemate, it's tied up. Who has really stuck out to you despite that? And it can be from either side. It can be one player from Michigan Tech and one player Bowling Green. Who has really made an impact on the game so far, even though it hasn't resulted in a goal?
I mean, I'd really say Ty Higgins as my first one for BG. I mean, 3 shots on goal, 3 for 3 with his attempts. To have that in the first period is almost unheard of as a defenseman. Normally, from a defensive standpoint, that kind of goes later in the game, where you kind of get 3 shots on goal the entire game as a defenseman. But really, you get 3 shots on goal right out of the gate. I mean, Ty Higgins is playing a very offensive, defensive style of hockey that we're seeing a lot of in Zach Kerensky, who may or may not win the Norris, but I digress. So Ty Higgins really just has been the player to watch for BG so far.
Well, he mentioned the Falcon. I'll go mention the Husky, Jack Anderson. Ben mentioned it, leads all defensemen in points in the CCHA. He's had 3 shots on goal so far, had a couple really close opportunities that Palmer was able to take care of. But on top of playing good offensively, he's also taken 2 block shots, leads the team so far in both shots on goal and block shots. So Anderson stepping up for the Huskies on both sides of the puck.
And the major news as we exit that first period, Gustav Sternberg shaken up after the last play of pretty much the period before time expired. He was shaken up. Ben said he was a little bit wobbly. Kind of took him a second to get up, but he did manage to get to the locker room on his own feet, leaving the ice. Nathan, I know you were watching the play on your computer. Can you walk us through kind of what you saw and what happened?
He goes down on one knee to block a shot and takes it into the leg right where there's no padding. classic situation Coach Willie always talks about, as I, maybe to a fault, ask him always about block shots. People don't always realize, as much as there is padding in hockey, padding does not cover nearly as much as you would think, especially when you're going down the block shots like that. So very easy in this situation for him to take a puck right where there's no padding, and so he should be okay, hopefully, and I guess we'll see in the second period. He does have an entire intermission to walk it off, if you will.
Yeah, 15 minutes left when the clock expired. 15 minutes on the clock. Time still winding down, so he has plenty of time to get rest. We won't speculate on his status or injury until we have any official confirmation whether he'll play this game, but considering he left the ice on his own, it's looking good for Sternberg, at least as of now.
He should be okay.
Yeah. We have
some Tylenol later, but
we have a couple former hockey players in the studio. I should mention both Nathan Burkett and Dan Reiner both played hockey. I did not, as not an athletic child, but I digress. But
I never said I was athletic. I just said I played.
Fair enough. But I digress. So we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll look around the CCHA and we'll have more discussions on tonight's game.
Ever wanted to hear what a BGSU coach or player says after a game? Head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel to watch post-game press conferences for all BGSU home volleyball, soccer, football, hockey, and basketball games.
Welcome back here to WGU 88.1 FM, back here in the studio. So before we get into more discussion on that first period for the Falcons, we're going to take you around the CCHA, some of the other action going on right now. Right now, only one game currently going on in the CCHA. It's Ferris State versus Lake Superior State. That one's coming to an end in the first period, or first period, I should say, is coming to an end. Ferris State up 2-0 against Lake Superior State. Other games starting later in just a couple of minutes, actually, in 17 minutes. We'll have puck drop for two games, one Northern Michigan versus Minnesota State and St. Thomas versus Bemidji State. Both those games are coming up at 8:07. So we'll have more of an update for you during the second intermission report. But right now we're going to get back to tonight's game, the Falcons and the Huskies. Again, tied up 0-0 as we exited the first period. Already joined by Nathan Birkin and Dan Reiner. Guys, which players do you guys want to see step it up a little bit in the second period? I know we mentioned a couple players we were looking out for in the first period, but who really needs to step it up a little bit in that second period for the Falcons?
Yes. I mean, until
so everyone pretty much.
Again, we can explain how well players have played all game, but at the end of the day, that score line still says 0-0. So not enough.
I would say if you're wearing a brown jersey, then it's time to pick it up. If you're not wearing a jersey that's a remake of the Boston Bruins, pick it up. So I'd really say that just everybody on Bowling Green, and that's not saying they're playing lazy. That's not saying that they're just giving up after the first period. That's just saying you got to be consistent. You got to keep it going. This is, a 60-minute game. It's not a 20-minute game, as Coach Williams has talked about multiple times this year. So just play every period to your potential and just don't give up no matter the circumstances.
Again, I feel like everyone on the Falcon team as well as the Husky team are giving it their all, especially in the first period. But until you get a win, it's not enough. And it does not matter how well you play. If your team does not win this game, you're not going to get home ice advantage. So,
and I've been on a couple of these pregame, postgame, halftime shows. One thing I've noticed the Falcons like to do, and we've seen this consistently over the season, is they like to open these periods, after Coach Dretcher's with a goal or with a sort of aggressive style of play from Coach Williams. They attack them that right away immediately. Do you think we see another one of those in the second period from the Falcons, or do you think it's still more of the sort of aggressive factor on both sides that's going to downplay that?
I definitely hope we see a goal quickly, but again, you mentioned aggressive goals, dirty goals. That's how Falcons are going to score. That's how the Falcons do score. So that's what's going to take to beat this Michigan Tech goalie. So that's what you got to see from them.
Exactly. Just get down low, try to set the screen right or get the rebound, because you know that the Huskies are going to give them up inevitably. So just take every chance you can get is really kind of the short and simple way I have to put it.
All right, and still a couple minutes left before the second period begins. So just looking ahead at some of the other statistics in tonight's game. Obviously, you guys mentioned face-offs, and but also one thing I've noticed: no power plays yet. I mean, listen to the broadcast. It feels like it's been pretty physical on both sides, but nothing yet has been called a major time in the box. Do you think how big of an effect has that had on the game? Because nobody's had to leave the ice. It's still been a 5-on-5 matchup pretty much the entire game. How big of an effect has that had on the current score of the game?
Well, it's definitely big. I think so much of the reason why you haven't seen any penalties so far is just the refs are keeping in mind what's on the line here. One of the referees, Rick Nelson, I was lucky enough to talk to a couple months ago for a feature story that will hopefully be out soon. And I asked him, like, how do you decide what to call versus not to call? Because if we're being honest, and Dan and I can agree because we used to play the game, that if a referee called every penalty that happens on the ice, then there would never be a moment that's not a penalty, or at least one kind of penalty box. But he said, like, you have to decide based on possession, based on the moment, and the players kind of decide what is and what isn't called depending on how the game goes. And I think they're keeping in mind this is a big game. This whole series is a big series. Winner takes all situation. They're going to let the guys play.
I mean, there's referees that are going to just turn a blind eye to everything, and there's referees that are going to overanalyze every little detail. I mean, there's a happy medium, if you will, and I will say credit to Rick Nelson and the officiating staff. They've just been keeping it consistent. There hasn't been a moment yet, though, either in this game where it's kind of just something that's blatant and you have to call it. But, I mean, officiating is everything. That's really just the backbone of the game and everything that you're going to be playing. But
a thankless job.
It is a thankless job. So, I mean, hats off to our officiating staff. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's really just going to come down to discipline as opposed to an actual decision and put that ref in. If it makes sense, it's going to come down to the situation you put yourself in, and if it's a poor situation and the referee has to call it, well, you were kind of the beginning of it. So we'll see how this ends up panning out, if you will, if it kind of stays mellow, if it gets a little more physical, if there is another call to be made. But at the end of the day, this is a disciplined Bowling Green team that has been known to started off the year struggling with the penalty kill, picked it up, and then is struggling again. And you already know that your power play's not the greatest and is struggling as well, so just realize you shouldn't put yourself in that situation either. So just play as much time as you can 5-on-5, and Bowling Green should be pretty good down the road.
All right, we're going to take one last break in this halftime, intermission report, I should say, not halftime. But when we come back, we're actually going to throw it to Ben Korak, who's out right now at the at Michigan Tech. So we're going to throw it back to him when we come back.
This is Falcon Media Sports Network hockey coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Back here in the John McKinnis Student Ice Arena, the Falcons and the Huskies taking the ice once again. Now for the second period, after skating a first period at 0-0 with a bunch of shots, a bunch of hits, a bunch of everything going back and forth, but the nose there, as they talked about back in the Cooling Center studio, was no penalties for the Falcons and the Huskies. The Huskies averaging just 3 penalties per game. The Falcons 5 penalties per game. CCHA leading, and CCHA leaders in penalty minutes as well with 15 a game, which is bolstered quite a bit by the 10-minute misconducts, especially to Gustav Stjernberg. But beyond that, a lot of 10 minutes that were not actually served. However, physicality played a big factor in this game in the first period, and especially later on in the first period when the Falcons started to play a little bit more strong, playing a little bit more heavy, and that kind of subsided the Huskies just a bit. But second period has been a struggle all season for the Falcons. They've been outscored in the second period by quite a margin, and they'll look to make sure that that doesn't happen today. They're on the road, which they have a better record on the road than they do at home. And now they puck drop center ice with Tyler Palmer on the left side of your radio dial and Bartoskevich for Michigan Tech on the right. Falcons immediately take it in. Emerson with an immediate shot and Carson Latimer with an immediate block. And we get a face-off in the O-zone with only 9 seconds expired in the second period. That first period, shots on goal led by Jack Anderson, defenseman for Michigan Tech. Shots on goal for the Falcons led by Ty Higgins, defenseman for Bowling Green. That's a freshman to a senior. And Jack Anderson, one of the best defensemen in the CCHA, making a bid for first team all CCHA selection this year. Michigan Tech didn't have a defenseman, that I should say, on the defenseman board last year, but looking for one this year as well. Up to the blue line, Dalton Norris, the shot in from the point. It's gloved by Bartoskevich again, and now just 20 seconds expired in the second period. We have a couple of quick freezes. Bowling Green in a good spot right now, and the bench coming into play is Bowling Green's near side bench to the offensive zone. They can cycle guys on and off the ice as fast as they want, as long as they maintain possession. Jaden Grant will go out to take the draw. 5-3 today in the face-off circles. Every Falcon with a winning record in the face-off circles. At least the three centers for Bowling Green. Connor Levis, fourth-line center, has not yet taken a draw today. And Jake Sloan, who's been the center for the Falcons on the fourth line for quite a while, not skating today. Extra skater scratched before game start. First game not played in quite a while, and Connor Levis setting into that center spot that he played, especially amidst the injury to Noah Morneau that took him out of the lineup and out of that center position. And icing against Michigan Tech, so they'll skate a bit tired, and their first line is out there, so they'll waste them for just a little bit. Bowling Green in for the draw again. Ben Duran for the face-off, one to the right side, Dominic Ryman. Brody Waters with a good move down. Callum Parker down into the corner. Waters battling for the puck. Puck battle won by Duran, and now back behind the goal for Waters. With speed around, bullied by Jack Anderson. Waters, big body, drags it through the legs of Anderson, still in the corner. Now back up to the blue line. McKinley to Crampton. His shot blocked into the high glass, down behind the goal line. Anderson to clear. Crampton couldn't hold it in, and now down the right wing comes Gordon. He lost the puck up ahead, and Bowling Green recovers because of it. It's Crampton that cycles it back up the ice. Bowling Green with the puck, feeds it off of the linesman, who is stumbling a little bit after that, but it's back to Bowling Green, and they look forward inside the blue line. McKinley fires it, just misses Scooter Jess in the bench of the Falcons. One of the equipment managers as well. 18:37 to go, and a face-off coming at dead center ice from the linesman here in the John McKinnis Student Arena. Taking the draw is Elias Janssen. 3 out of the 4 centers for Michigan Tech. Tom Leppa, Elias Janssen, and Max Koskapirti, all Finns. Espoo, Finland, Oulu, Finland, and Kanainen, Finland. From Tom Leppa. 2 of them sophomores, 1 of them a junior. That's Koskapirti, and they'll return those 3 Finnish forwards next year, assuming that they do not enter the transfer portal that is so prevalent here in these last few years. Janssen knocked down to the ice as he streaked in toward Tyler Palmer. He's made 10 saves, so has Bartoskevich. No goals allowed for either goaltender. Fasciano tried to clear it. Niedermeyer picked it off. Emerson back down to Niedermeyer, who was coming back up to the blue line, so the pass at his feet wasn't held on to. Back across to Emerson. Emerson's bumped by Miller. Hodson behind the net. Grant back up on his feet. So is Emerson. Up to Stjernberg. He feeds it in. Kicked away by Bartoskevich. And a breakaway pass. Trembecki on a breakaway. Working through the middle against Palmer. Save made by the sophomore. Trembecki never got a move off. It was defended by Gustav Stjernberg. 17:43 to go in the second. We'll take a quick step back for station identification.
You are listening to Falcon Media Sports Network coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Taden Trembecki, 4 goals and 2 assists in 4 games played against Northern Michigan this season. That's the best that he's been against any team, but he's been good against all teams, 13 goals. And he had a prime opportunity there, as Michigan Tech's had about 4 of those. Not necessarily breakaways, but big chances, and they failed to score on any. Noah Morneau, before even the puck was hovering over the face-off dot, was kicked out. So Max Martin will go in for the draw. and it's won back by Bowling Green. Falcons with the puck back in their own zone. Morneau goes for it and gets it out on the backhand. Max Martin, a bank pass ahead. Andreessen, Reed Andreessen, not to be confused with Jack Anderson, two similar names, but Andreessen, the third pairing defenseman on the left side, and Jack Anderson, the first pairing defenseman on the left side. Quite a bit of size difference as well. Anderson, 6'6", and the better scorer. Andreessen, a lesser scorer, and just 5'9". On the right side, Gordon up to Koskapirti. He lost it for a second, and then lucky bounce got it back to him. Crampton forces it away, goes for a change. Full line change for the Falcons. Higgins and Korodiak back on defense. Korodiak steps up. Sardarian lost the puck. Bartoskevich with the puck at his feet behind the net. It's up to Sardarian again. Tried to feed it between the legs of Brandon Wynot on the left side. Held inside the blue line by Wino. Back up to the center ice. And Higgins and Korodiak skate back around with it. 16:30 to go in the second period. Up the left wing comes Ivan Korodiak. Shot over the crossbar of Bartoskevich by Korodiak. Korodiak 8 blocks in his last 5 games played. The leader in blocks this season over both Dalton Norris and Gustav Stjernberg, who are second and third, but both of them having missed significant time. Korodiak missing significant time due to healthy scratch, not due to injury and suspension. As injury, the case of Norris, and suspension, a lot of the case of Stjernberg. Down the right side, Dominic Ryman with the puck. Up at the feet of Brody Waters. Lost it for a second. Boehm the shot, a right-hand save by Tyler Palmer. Callum Parker fires it around. Cicek tries to feed it into the slot off of the Falcons stick. Up in the air, up to the blue line, and kicked out by the Falcons. Michigan Tech has to circle back around. They're now up in shots on goal by 2, but it's been tight since the first 3 minutes of the first period. We're now at 15:30. Breakaway, Dom Ryman, slap shot, score! Ryman, what a shot from the left side! The freshman makes it 1-0 Bowling Green here in the second. A big-time clapper from the rookie. Left wing face-off circle. A beauty for Dominic Ryman. And the Falcons up 1-0 on the Huskies. An absolutely gorgeous shot to beat Bartoskevich. First goaltender to be beat today. That's a big goal for the Falcons in the second period, and a 20 minutes that throughout the season they have much struggled. After all those chances for Michigan Tech in the first and now early in the second, and Bowling Green strikes first. Stjernberg and Norris, the 2 assists as they push the puck ahead. Gustav Stjernberg has played 7 games against Michigan Tech before today, and this is his first point against the Huskies. Here's a backhand chance. Lepa to the back door. Spin back around. Miller the shot. Broken up by Bowling Green. Up the left side, Dominic Ryman to poke it ahead. Now Crampton to get it up to Quinn Emerson. Down behind the goal line. Pass up, slot again, a shot. In tight, Lepa, he's dropped down to the ice. Bernie battling for the puck as well. Falcons still down and tied up. Everybody knotted up with each other. A stick and a glove down on the ice. And a puck away. Tyler Hodson takes it in offensively. He's wasting some time for Bowling Green to get up with him. He had it inside the blue line. Skated out by the Falcons by Morneau in favor of possession instead of keeping it in the O-zone. Morneau goes for a check on Tyler Miller. Martin goes for a check on Trembecki, who gets it out to the right side. Miller down the right wing, the defenseman, pass across the slot. Nobody there on the backside. Janssen the shot behind the net is Higgins and Martin recovers. Falcons up 1-0, 14-10 to go in the second period. Zlinka would have got to the puck first had there not been no-touch icing. So it's going to be an icing against the Falcons. Dominic Ryman has had a slow 2026, just 3 goals in his last 6 series. Those are his only 3 points. 4 blocks and 20 shots on goal during that time. He affects the game in a lot of different ways, even when he's not scoring, but he's picked up the scoring a little bit lately. A game-tying goal in the second game against Minnesota State so that the Falcons took 1 point inevitably, and now he gets Bowling Green on the board first. A slap shot from the left side off of Norris and Stjernberg. Morneau with Koskapirti. Again dropped. Morneau stays in the dot this time and loses the faceoff. Back to Andreessen. Down into the right wing corner. Higgins and Max Martin battling for the puck. 50-50, won by the Falcons. Left side, Norris looks up the ice. Poked ahead by Max Martin. Maybe off of his hand. No hand pass called. Michigan Tech touched it first anyway. Bowling Green tries to get it back up to the blue line. The Blue Liners have to step out, and they have to force it back in. Levis and Minville, and why not? The fourth line remains all freshmen, but in a different form factor. Minville was third line forward for a while, now back down to fourth to play with Brandon Wynot and Connor Levis. Through center ice, Andreessen streaking in. Gordon on the backside didn't land either. Got too in tight with Palmer, and he's able to make the glove save. 13:30 to go in the second period. Ryman from Norris and Stjernberg, the only goal in the game so far. 4:31, the time of that goal here in the second. And for the draw goes Noah Reinhardt, it looks like, along with Carson Latimer and Braden Boehm. Lost the draw back behind the goal line. The Falcons pushed up to Waters on the right wing boards and ahead for Ben Duran. Duran, a smaller body than who's pressing him up, and Fasciano is behind the net. Dominic Ryman, it's a back up blue line. Good separation for the defenseman McKinley, who tried to get it back down to Ryman and missed the pass. Bowling Green holds it in. A couple of guys ahead of a couple of Huskies. Here's Duran to feed it in. Good block by Miller to stop the pass. A penalty upcoming. Getting a touch in it is Michigan Tech. A power play to Bowling Green as Tyler Palmer came off into the bench. Now he'll just grab some water and go back to his crease. And Bowling Green will go on the first power play of the game for either team. And to the box, Fasciano. No, sorry, it's not Fasciano, it's Michael Cicek. Fasciano in the same facet of the play, but Bowling Green on a power play. One that has not been fantastic, has dropped down to 21% after getting up to 24% at one point. A new look for Bowling Green on the power play as well. Higgins left side, Ryman feeds it in, backside, Niedermeyer, rebound chance with Bardashevsky out of the crease, and Bowling Green wins it back. Good save by the goaltender. Michigan Tech able to clear. Backhanded out at center ice. BG with a minute 40 to go in the power play. That was a prime chance, a big opportunity for Bowling Green to go up 2 goals here in the second period. Higgins through and down the right wing. Defended by Anderson. Higgins rinks it around and back up to blue line, which is Ryman. Bank pass back up to Ryman on the left side. High wheel, Ryman looking in. The only goal in the game so far. Bicks it in, slot. Bartoskevich with the pass. Back up to the right side, picked off by the Falcons. Here to Niedermeyer. Doesn't even look for a shot. Gives it right back to Higgins. Now slap shot, Niedermeyer over the head of Bartoskevich. And Higgins will have to scamper back and grab the puck. Higgins taking a second behind the net. They want to change. Higgins will stay on the ice, though. He's a puck mover, but he'll get the puck away and go to the bench. Entry for Hodson, ahead down the left wing. Duran with the puck behind the net. Give away to Fasciano, and he clears. 40 seconds to go in the power play for Bowling Green. They were not really able to get many entries against Minnesota State. Their passing not on point, so looked okay on the power play so far. Down the left side, Hodson ahead. A body in deep to go against Fasciano. It's held in by Waters. Waters south of the goal line. He works in toward the net, gives it up to the left side. Outside of the wheel, Stjernberg gives it back. Duran down to Waters. Waters, oh, what a shot! And off the side of the red iron. 11:05 to go in the second period. 13 seconds on the power play. An offensive zone draw, and they get another shot on goal. A must win for Bowling Green. Jaden Grant's going to go in for the draw. He takes a lot of clutch time faceoffs. Jaden Grant does. the senior for the Falcons, wearing an A for alternate captain alongside Quinn Emerson, who got it midway through the year, Gustav Stjernberg, that's had it the whole year, and now the entire leadership group complete with Dalton Norris, the captain, back out on the ice. BG got the face-off back into their end of the ice, but Janssen clears it as he poked through the Falcon defense. 1-0 Bowling Green, a successful penalty kill for Michigan Tech. Bowling Green's even strength goal by Dominic Ryman, and now Higgins gains entry. Up the right side, Higgins, he looks in. His pass blocked by Anderson, down behind the net for Higgins again. Playing from anywhere on the ice is Ty Higgins. He's got it back up at the blue line. He rinks it around, down behind the net again for Emerson. In tight with Bartoskevich. Again in tight with Bartoskevich. The net almost rocks off its moorings. Martin has to wait for his guys to get back on sides. Up the left wing. Slinka, sneaky, gives it back. Morneau, good shot, and it's blocked. Morneau still with the puck. Left side, the freshman makes a man miss. Now he gets pressed up by Prouty, and a good defensive play. Prouty just lands on Noah Morneau. Stands over him a second. With the puck still are the Falcons. Slinka tips ahead. Prouty goes for another body. Anderson able to clear it around. A good shift defensively for Joel Prouty, the Lindenwood transfer. Forced the puck away a couple of times and turning it over to Michigan Tech. Gordon takes a check. Michigan Tech down by a goal. 9:40 to go in the second period. The Falcons now ahead in shots on goal. Levis through center, up to the left side. The bank pass didn't land and turned over to Koskapirti. Up the right wing. Michigan Tech's got 3 ahead. Koskapirti up to Miller. Miller looking in. Backdoor didn't land. What a chance to Gordon on the right side, backside. Tyler Miller feeds it behind the goal again. Gordon lost his footing. Karodiak to clear. Big chance again for Michigan Tech. That's swatted away by Bowling Green. There's a kick save by Palmer. Karodiak up to center ice. Levis gets it poked away. Chichik with a nice play. Entry from Gordon, and he'll head off. First line for Michigan Tech wheels a lot of minutes, but they might be tired toward the end of this game. They've taken a lot of shifts today already. 8:50 to go in the second period. Next timeout, media timeout. Latimer worked down, gets it poked, disrupts the play enough that he has to peel back up to the blue line. Niedermeyer recovers and dumps. It's slowly ahead. Icing will be waved off. Back there to get the puck is Parker, the defenseman, with Jack Anderson. Up the left side comes Latimer. He narrowly avoids a big hit by Higgins, who was lining him up, and then he's taken into the boards. A bit of a high hit there on Latimer, but nothing from the Falcons. Up high was Tom Lepa. Here's Higgins. He lifts it in behind the net. Prouty will be the first there. 8 minutes to go in the second period. 1-0 the Falcons lead on the goal from Dominic Ryman. Now up the right side, working in. Van Blaricom the shot, and he missed wide left. Palmer let it fly. He had a good beat on it and decided it wasn't worth his effort to save. Prouty just inside his own blue line. Jaden Grant and Tyler Hodson as Hodson pokes ahead and makes sure that he gets 5 guys off and 5 new guys on. Shots on goal knotted up at 16. One of them finding its way through, beating Bartoskevich. Lifted out to center again by Bowling Green. A lot of pressure by Michigan Tech, and it's all the Falcons can do to just get it out. Although the Huskies haven't had a lot of chances. Bowling Green's not allowing a lot of breakaways here in the second period. Janssen down the left wing. Second line centerman ahead for the left side. Good pass to the center, streaking Trembecki, and he gets bumped by Stjernberg, and the net comes off its pegs with 7 minutes to go in the second period. One to nothing, the Falcons lead. The drop coming to the left of Tyler Palmer, who's been pretty solid so far today. 16 saves and no goals allowed for a guy that hasn't started a game since December 5th. And how many times have we mentioned on broadcast and the Zig Zone, which you can catch every Sunday at 4 p.m. Panel of Falcon Media Sports Network analysts talk about everything going on in Bowling Green Athletics, including both men's and women's basketball. hockey that's going on right now and baseball and softball that started a couple weeks ago. But we've mentioned so much. 3 goaltenders the Falcons have that are solid, and Palmer's trying to prove that today, that he earns a starting spot going into quarterfinal playoffs. That's best 2 out of 3. Norris sees it back behind the goal line. Sternberg flips it up, and Parker will have to swim back for Michigan Tech and grab it. Michigan Tech in their white sweaters, the Falcons in their brown sweaters. Koskapirti and Trembecki. Back to Koskapirti, backside broken up by Duran, who takes a tumble into the boards. Now again backside Trembecki, as he was on the left side that time. Now fed in again. Koskapirti defended by the Falcons. That was Higgins that got the block there. Sardarian gets broken up a bit by Emerson. He didn't turn the puck over, but made Sardarian go into the right wing boards. Left-handed stick handler fed into the slot again. Koskapirti. Now into the left wing corner. Quinn Emerson in for the puck. He's guarding Jack Anderson up at the blue line. Dangerous 6'6" is Jack Anderson. Pure 6'6" goal scoring ability. 6 minutes to go in the second period. Falcons up 1-0. A standstill on the left wing boards, finally taken away by the Falcons. Here's Emerson with Ryman. Emerson lost it a second, feeds it across, didn't land Ryman. Now he'll go for a change. Emerson hit up high with the stick of Anderson, away from the puck. Left at the center dot, poked ahead, left side, Brandon Wynot. His shot off the stick, into the net. An offensive zone faceoff for the Falcons with 5:31 to go in the second period and a 1-0 lead. This timeout brought to you by Juniper Brewing Company, proud creators of the Ale Ziggy Zumba. Located at 145 South Main Street in downtown Bowling Green. Juniper Brewing Company. Visit them at juniperbrew.com. You're listening to Falcon Hockey here on WBGU 88.1 FM.
BG Women's Golf heads to the Lone Star State to face Abilene Christian University at Abilene Country Club on Monday, March 2nd and Tuesday, March 3rd. Make sure to read the recap of the event by Falcon Media Sports Network's Dan Ridenauer on bgfalconmedia.com, your home for all BGSU athletics news and updates.
Ever heard of Falcon Media Sports Network's broadcasts on Falcon Radio or WBGU 88.1 FM but don't know where to listen? Well, set down the radio, pick up your phone, and go to bgfalconmedia.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to stream Falcon Radio and WBGU 88.1 FM for all broadcasts.
Check out recaps of this and every BGSU hockey match online at bgfalconmedia.com.
5:30 to go in the second period. The Falcons up 1-0. Dominic Ryman with his goal, a slap shot from the left side face-off circle, his 10th of the season. Now 20 points on the season as well for the rookie. Gustav Stjernberg and Dalton Norris, the 2 assists, and that's a good thing to say again, to have both of their names in the same sentence. Gustav Stjernberg missing a good amount of time for suspension, as well as missing a solid chunk of a lot of games due to game misconducts. And Dalton Norris obviously missing some time due to a lower body injury that he suffered during the Notre Dame series and missed up until senior night last night. Bartoskevich makes a quick save. McKinley on the left side, down behind the net to Hodson. Hodson with it, nobody in toward the crease, and it's picked off as he centered it. Grant in, puts a check on Burney. Puck behind the net to Anderson with free possession, and Anderson skates it up the right side slowly. In front of the Bowling Green bench, BG with the puck. Van Blaricom forces it back in. Forward for Michigan Tech. Van Blaricom is one of many freshmen on this Michigan Tech team. Pass to the slot, poked away, and a penalty coming against Bowling Green. Bartoskevich comes off of the crease, and he goes over to the bench. Back up, Andreessen to the right side. Back in, save made. Palmer into the corner. Sardarian going for the puck. It's touched briefly by the Falcons, but enough to whistle the play dead. And a power play coming for the Huskies. 4:28 to go in the second period, a 2-minute power play for Michigan Tech. It's going to be Breck McKinley taking the penalty for Bowling Green. Not taking a lot of penalties is Breck McKinley, but he gets it for slashing. He'll sit inside the gate for 2. Yeah, he came down over the stick of Gordon as Crampton went for the stick lift, and actually probably benefited Michigan Tech. Kept Gordon's stick on the puck. Nevertheless, a power play. Tom Lepa's going to go into the dot. You'd think a fourth-line center doesn't get a lot of power play minutes, but he does, and that's where he's got a lot of his 17 points. His line mates, Van Blaricom and Bernie, 15 combined. And Tom Lepa, a good 12 just himself, and a lot of those coming on the power play. Behind the goal line, Lepa back up to the blue line. Anderson couldn't hold it in. BG trying to break it away. It was Ryman quick skating up on the 6'6" defenseman, but it's centered back around, and now the alternate captain, Anderson, takes it up the left side. Goes in on Stjernberg. The big body fans on a pass and now clears it. A fake fan that was for Stjernberg against Anderson. Now, for all the positives of Jack Anderson and the way he plays the game, speed is not necessarily one of them, although a very smooth skater. Skating much lighter than he is. But the Falcons can take advantage of him a little bit with the wheels, as you saw Dom Ryman try to do there. Poke up, back to center ice. Grant makes a man miss. He's got a shorty this season. He's got the puck in the corner. He's circled away by Michigan Tech. Back up blue line, held in. BG fires it in. A backdoor chance from Emerson to Noah Morneau, who comes back off to the bench. Bowling Green back up on the ice with 4 fresh skaters. They've wasted a minute and 20 seconds of power play against Michigan Tech. They got 40 seconds to try and make something happen and tie this game up at 1. Latimer up the right wing for Michigan Tech. Power play in through the slot. Latimer in toward Palmer. Pressed in by Stjernberg into the pad of Palmer, and it's carried back out. Anderson as it bounded over his stick. 25 to go on the penalty to Breck McKinley. A slashing. Latimer up the right side. Trembecki ahead for Latimer. He looks to give it up. He got it back to the right side. Trembecki, same spot Trembecki gave it up. Anderson back, Trembecki, slap shot. Casual save made by Tyler Palmer on a nice clapper. 2:37 to go in the second period. 1-0 the Falcons lead, and only 9 seconds to go on the power play for Michigan Tech. The Huskies have a penalty kill on a earlier this game. A penalty to Cicek as he went to the box for 2, and Bowling Green with a lot of opportunity but failed to score. That in the first period. Now in the second, this has been the was early in the second period, and now we have the second penalty of the second period. Now a penalty is going to be upcoming. We're going to get an interference, and it looks like it's going to go against the Falcons. Have to see the replay on this one. Dalton Norris not really happy about the call. 2:33 to go in the second, nearly all the time remaining in this second period. It'll be served with a man advantage for Michigan Tech. Breck McKinley still in the box for 5 seconds. That'll be 5-on-3 for 5. So now a big draw coming here from the Falcons, as McKinley will have to quickly get out of the box and go in toward the play. We'll have to really hustle to get in. And for the draw, Lepa against Grant. One back by Michigan Tech, up to Sardarian. McKinley coming out of the box a bit late as the gate didn't open in time. Reinhardt with it on the left side, back up blue line, Sardarian facilitating this power play. His shot in, a rebound chance. It's cleared away off of a rebound by the Falcons. Now Norris in the box for the next minute 40. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the second period. BG with the only goal of the game in the second period, a slap shot from Dominic Ryman. Now they go back on the penalty kill. Ben Duran back skating with Dominic Ryman, with Stjernberg and Jackson Niedermeyer. Ryman with Koskapirti in the corner. He bumps up Koskapirti. Puck free, back up Anderson. A backhand scoop pass away. Niedermeyer to slap it ahead. Steered into the corner was Reinhardt. Back up blue line, Lepa. Here's Anderson up at the point. CCHA logo center inside the Bowling Green blue line. Anderson on the right wing now. Back up blue line for Sardarian. He and Koskapirti up at the blue line for Michigan Tech. 55 seconds to go in the second power play of the last few minutes. Slap shot saved by Palmer. The rebound comes back out to the blue line. Anderson and Sardarian. Back again. Another slap shot. Anderson right side, and he missed up high. Koskapirti back to Sardarian. Back to Anderson. All three of them up at the blue line. Anderson looking back. Sardarian for a shooting lane. Koskapirti right side wheel. Now back up Sardarian up at the blue line. Another shot in. Doesn't get its way through. Palmer shut it down. He holds on to the puck. He was getting slashed out a bit and a bit on the body, not just on the pads. 1:02 to go in the second period. 30 seconds to go on the power play. Norris comes out of the box with just about 30 seconds remaining. Actually, 33 seconds remaining on the clock. That'll be the play time we have here in the second 5-on-5, assuming the Falcons can kill off the next 30. Grant again in for a faceoff against Janssen. Janssen wins it back. Gordon gives it up right side. Blowing a tire there was Trembecki. Nearly lost the puck. Michigan Tech has to forego their plans with it. Trembecki back up at the right side with the puck. Highly defended and pressed up by Bowling Green. Grant circles back, gets back into the box formation. 10 seconds to go on the power play for Michigan Tech. Up at the blue line, center of the ice. Andreessen gives it up right side. Trembecki now back to Andreessen up at the middle. Left side, Gordon shot, blocked by McKinley, perfectly placed. Norris out of the box, 5-on-5 when Norris can get back in the play. He is back in the play now. Michigan Tech with the puck still in the O-zone, still feeding off of that energy from the power play. Gordon behind the net. Janssen looks to feed it into the slot. Couldn't get a pass off. He got it now out to Andreessen up at the blue line for Prouty. 10 seconds to go in the second period. Janssen behind the net. He's bumped up by Norris, who stifled the chance at a pass to the slot in the scoring opportunity. BG trying to clear it. Korodiak tries it over toward the slot. It's bumped away by the Falcons on a deflection. And now we go into the second intermission with a 1-0 Falcon lead. Dominic Ryman, the goal in this period. 4:31 into the second. A slap shot from the left side, streaking in off of Sternberg and Dalton Norris. That's the only goal in the game so far, and we've got zilch otherwise. The Falcons leading Michigan Tech 1-0 here after 2 periods of play. You're listening to Falcon Hockey here on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces weekly short-form and long-form social media pieces for in-season sports all year long. Make sure to check out at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and at BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to view the content.
Ever heard of Falcon Media Sports Network's broadcasts on Falcon Radio or WBGU 88.1 FM but don't know where to listen? Well, set down the radio, pick up your phone, and go to bgfalconmedia.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to stream Falcon Radio and WBGU 88.1 FM for all broadcasts.
Looking for a BGSU Athletics talk radio show? Tune into the Zig Zone every Sunday at 4 p.m., where a panel of Falcon Media Sports Network members discuss the hottest BG sports topics. Only on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Welcome back here to the studio. BG up 1-0 against Michigan Tech as we head into the third period. My name is Artie Brago, and we're here for the second intermission report of the night. This intermission report is brought to you in memory of Marta Crow, Falcon hockey fanatic and avid Falcon hockey fan on WGU 88.1 FM listener. So, as as I just mentioned. The first goal of the night was scored by Dominic Ryman on an even strength goal with assist by Dalton Norris and Gustav Sternberg. That was just 4 minutes into the period where they got to go by. Dan, Nathan, can one of you guys walk us through that goal, just what happened on that and what it set for the tone for this game going forward?
Dominic Ryman got the puck, skated in like he has done so many times, and wound up from the left faceoff dot and slap shot by the Michigan Tech goaltender, and it's a 1-0 game for BG. That's the goal.
Yeah, I mean, just a beautiful, just takes the stick up, slap shot right and away for Ryman. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, so good for him to, I guess, kick things off with scoring, if you will. Only his second shot on goal the entire game, and there you have it. He just finds the back of the net where, I mean, someone like Higgins only had one shot attempt and fell its head short, but still a good performance for Ty Higgins, I would say, as well. In the period, Bowling Green kind of struggling near the end with discipline as Dalton Norris taking a penalty and a couple others for Bowling Green, so kind of having to be shorthanded on that aspect. But credit for Bowling Green to be able to kill it and force Michigan Tech to go 0 for 2 on the power play.
Also want to mention for Ryman, his 10th goal of the season, 20th point on the year as a freshman, truly having a really good year.
So Owen Bartowski let his first one by. He had made he's made 17 saves so far, let one by, so he's the only goalie of each one to let a goal by so far. Tyler Palmer still holding strong here with 23 saves. Obviously, there was one earlier that was called back for being just on the goal line, but if you look at the stat sheet right now, it's showing 23 saves, 0 goals. So a pretty strong performance by Tyler Palmer as he's kind of been thrust into one of these starting spots with Jacob Steinman out. So a pretty strong performance for him so far.
Again, we mentioned he had a couple scary moments in the first period, but he has settled in so far, made a bunch of really big saves, making the saves he needs to, sprinkling in a couple highlight reel ones in there as well. So this is no surprise. I mean, in the first half of the year, it was mostly Steinman and Palmer, and he's getting a chance now as Steinman's out with an injury, and he is not letting it go to waste.
Exactly. With Steinman being out, it kind of forces Coach Willie's hand at either him or Moore needing the rest. I mean, Palmer, there was some questions that needed to be answered. First period answered some of them, but the second period just answered the rest, I'd say, and really a strong performance so far for Cole Moore. I mean, really not much to complain about. 23 saves so far and has kept Bowling Green into it, and then also, too, allowed the offensive side of things with Ryman, and then, too, just a lot of just like grinders, a lot of grit for Bowling Green as well. I mean, Brody Waters is getting in there, Jaden Grant's getting in there, Tyler Hodson's getting in there, just to name a few. I mean, Morneau as well with Niedermeyer. So it's good to see the guys like that stepping up and just contributing to a Bowling Green standout so far.
And he's been under attack for this entire second period. Michigan Tech with 13 shots on goal, and they've been pretty aggressive this half. They've taken 21 shots total, and they've had and obviously more power plays this time around. But Bowling Green's had a couple. Michigan Tech has had one. What has this Michigan Tech attack? What are they doing that's not kind of getting them to the goal yet? Not getting them past Palmer.
Really, I'd say it's kind of just a luck of the draw, but it's also just the aspect of trying to connect, and you're going to have to get perfect timing and try to find the opportunity that you can with Michigan Tech and everything with that. But it's really just kind of the short end of the stick, if you will, for Michigan Tech in this period. I mean, you look kind of, too, like a guy like Anderson, really, with 4 shots on goal trying to get there. Latimer with 3, Jansen with 2, multiple others with 2 shots on goal and trying to attempt those. I mean, you look at Sardarian, I mean, he's got 3 shots on goal as well, so there are the chances that are really trying to connect. But, I mean, you got to give credit where it's due. Jack Anderson, 4 block shots, 4 shots on goal, 7 attempted. I mean, really doing his best to keep Michigan Tech into it, but the cards are just not falling in their place.
Yeah, I mean, as Dan said, they're creating all the good chances. Just so far, Palmer's been able to stand tall.
All right, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to take you around the CCHA for more updates. A couple more games have started in there, and we're going to look at our Player of the Game watch for BG Falcon Media.
BGSU women's basketball finishes the regular season at the Stroh Center against Northern Illinois on Saturday, March 7th at 2 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's broadcast will begin with a pregame show hosted by Holden Ruck, Dan Ridenauer, and Sam Bork, before Lucas Kleinmeyer and Andrew Elkowski call the action on WBGU 88.1 FM, your home for BGSU women's basketball.
Welcome back here to WBGU 88.1 FM. Still in the midst of our second intermission report of the night. Bowling Green up 1-0 against Michigan Tech as the second period came to an end. Still a couple minutes left for the third period, so we're going to take you around the CCHA for more action going on right now. So one game we discussed earlier, Ferris State versus Lake Superior State. Ferris State up 2-0 against Lake Superior as the second period is winding down. About 1:30 left to play according to the score sheet on the NCAA website. Also, just started a couple of minutes ago during that second period. In the midst of the first, Northern Michigan and Minnesota State are still tied 0-0. So a little bit similar to the first period that the Falcons and Michigan Tech had, just kind of all nothing really gone by the net so far. As for the other game going on now, Bemidji State up 1-0 against number 17 St. Thomas in this first period. That one with 2:30 left to play, so that period will also be coming to an end soon. We'll have one final update in our post-game show after the third period, so we'll get to our final thoughts on the CCHA. As for us here in the studio, second period, it's the third period, going to start soon, and we've had the first and second periods go by. So, guys, I got to ask, who is on your watch list right now for a possible player of the game? Now, this could be for the Falcons, it could be for Michigan Tech. Who do you guys are looking at for a possible FMSN player of the game?
I'll switch it around, as I did a Falcon in the first intermission and Burkett did a Husky, so I'll switch it around. Michigan Tech is still being led by a strong performance by Jack Anderson. 7 shots attempted, 4 have connected on goal, 4 block shots, and really doing his best to keep Michigan Tech into it. So I'd have to give it so far to Jack Anderson as the potential player of the game for Michigan Tech.
Well, let's switch it up. I'll name a Falcon. I right now would probably give the nod to Gustav Sternberg. Has an assist on the game, as well as tied with Breck McKinley with 2 block shots. Also has a shot on goal. So just a strong performance all around.
Pretty good picks from our analysts here in the studio. So we still have a couple minutes left before the third period officially begins. So I'm just wondering, looking at the room, is there anything you'd like to see the Falcons do a little bit more of in that second period? Or is it just third period, I should say? Or is it just more of the same way they played in that second period? Or just you want to up the ante a little more?
A couple more goals would be nice.
I was the exact same thing I was thinking. Just let's score some more goals. I mean, can't complain with how Bowling Green's been playing. I'd really just say try to get another one to extend that lead and keep it disciplined. Don't take any unnecessary penalties. Don't let your foot off the gas. So those are kind of my 3 main keys that I have.
Don't rest on your laurels. That's something BG has struggled with throughout this season, which they'll go up a couple goals and then they'll seemingly give up, stop keeping the pressure on, and they'll give up a lead, and then they'll end up losing the game. But again, this is do or die. Job's not done till the job's done. Not good enough yet.
When you say do or die, I mean for home playoff chances, this is do or die for the Falcons. They have to come away with this weekend with 5 points.
Not for a playoff berth, but for
home playoff chances, for on home ice in front of the home I'm sorry, I'm used to basketball. In the home of the Slater family ice in a crowd, you want those 5 points to get yourself home ice, to have that little bit of advantage, going in. I mentioned earlier that, the home and away scores are similar, but with playoff hockey, I believe I said this on the Zig Zone, it's just a whole different ball game, a whole different game you're playing with your home crowd in your arena for playoff hockey.
I mean, you look at last year in the CCHA Mason Cup playoffs, and if memory serves me well, I'm pretty sure that there's only one series that was won by the away team, with Bemidji State upsetting Augustana. Other than that, whoever had home ice advantage either won the series or won the game, because after the first round, and so one game only series. But so that just goes to show you how important home ice is.
All right, so with that in mind, of course, as we looked at the standings, Bowling Green, as we mentioned earlier, is kind of on the outside in that 5th spot, just outside getting a home home ice for their playoff series. Whoever they will play, we have no way of knowing yet because the season obviously isn't over. So they have to exit today with 5 points, and that would mean they would have to win both games in this series today and tomorrow, of course. So before we send it out to Ben Korak in a couple of minutes, is there any final thoughts from you guys heading out of the second period?
Yeah, I'd say really just if the regular season were to end today, Bowling Green just on the outside looking in would play Minnesota State, but Ferris State trying to play a little bit of a spoiler here as they got a lead going for them, as we mentioned with Lake Superior, so they're starting to get up there and I guess conference play, if you will, but yeah, just you got to focus on yourself tonight and really keep that lead and don't let your foot off the gas.
I keep saying it. I'm going to say it again. Get the job done.
All right, before we send it out to Ben Korak back in Michigan Tech, there's still a couple more content available on bgfalconmedia.com. Looking around Falcon Media Sports Network, of course, we'll have a recap and sidebar available after tonight's game. Also, there will be more content available on BG Falcon Media for other sports, including basketball, women's basketball, as those seasons come to an end, as we will be traveling to the MAC tournament this season like we do every season. So we're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to throw it to Ben Korak back at Michigan Tech for the rest of the game.
If you ever miss the Zig Zone on Sundays from 4 to 6 p.m. on WBGU 88.1 FM or just want to re-listen to the program, each show is posted in full on bgfalconmedia.com with timestamps so you can skip ahead to your favorite part.
Falcon Hockey on the radio at 88.1 FM and streaming online at bgfalconmedia.com.
Back here in the John McKinnis Student Ice Arena, the Falcons back out on the ice against the Huskies, and the Orange and Brown come back out with a 1-goal lead coming into period number 3. After 2 periods of play, the only goal is Dominic Ryman's 10th of the season, assisted by Gustav Sternberg, and Dalton Norris's first assist and point since he played his last game. That was on January 16th versus Lake Superior State. Dalton Norris did. That was middle of January, and he missed 9 games played due to injury. That second Lake Superior State game through, the first game against Minnesota State, and then the second game he skated for senior night, and a pleasant sight for a lot of Falcon hockey fans. But Nori's back out into the lineup today, and he's got a point against Michigan Tech. Gustav Sternberg also in his 8th game played against Michigan Tech in his career has scored his first point in the assist, and Dominic Ryman the same with the slap shot goal. Even strength. Bowling Green with a couple of clutch penalty kills at the end of that second period as well that kept that score at 1-0, and they have to try and do that and hold on to that through the last 20 minutes of play. Michigan Tech, a very high offensive team, and likely that they're going to be able to score in this game. So trying to get on the board early and get on board by a couple will be big for the Falcons, and trying to take regulation here today. As many points as possible. You don't want to be giving up points to overtime, even if you're able to win it. Gordon up off of his tip. It'll be waved off icing from McKinley as he bank passes it up to Duran. Duran got a tip. Bartoskevitz behind the net. Duran turns it over, pass to the slot. Brody Waters. Waters down, Duran pokes it away. Tyler Miller to the puck first defensively for Michigan Tech. He's played a couple of very nice shifts today. Tyler Miller has. Not a big scorer, but 10 points this season. One of the, I guess, lower totals on this Michigan Tech team, but a high-scoring team. A lot of pretty high-scoring defensemen compared to some other teams in the CCHA. Falcons grab the puck in the offensive zone and then turn it back over. Morneau almost broke it out the other way, and Miller took it back in. Bernie pressed up into the corner for Michigan Tech, digging in as well as Tom Leppa Puck poked away to Max Martin. He banks it up and ahead. Van Blaricom circles across his own blue line. Narrowly misses a check, almost pulled down to the ice. But Niedermeyer's going to have to go for the puck. Free puck out for Janssen. He missed it. Michigan Tech up at center ice, now picked off by Max Martin. Look to pass it up to Minville, streaking up the right side. Janssen with it. Gives it up. Left side, Trembecki back in. Save made! Tyler Palmer. A centering chance for Andreessen. And Palmer able to hold on. That's number 17 for Bartoskevich a little bit ago. And number 24 for Tyler Palmer just there. The two goaltenders tonight. Bartoskevich has allowed 1 goal. And Tyler Palmer has not yet with his 23 saves. Bank pass up center ice. Minville tips ahead. Dominic Ryman up ahead with Brandon Wynot. Wynot will get there first. Norris crashes in from the blue line and plays the puck in deeper. Prouty digs it out. It's into Reinhardt, Bowling Green, and looking for the puck. Levis lost track of it up in the air. Norris plays it back to his defensive partner, Stjernberg, and the Falcons will reset. Those two defensemen, big defensive partners last season, played most of the season together, actually. Back as defensive partners today on the line chart, although they played pretty equal amount of time with other players. Now down the left side, worked in with Palmer, cleared away by the Falcons, back up in the slot, backhand chance. Palmer able to slide, poke to poke, made the save. Hodson up ahead. Anderson rips it around the boards. It takes a bad bounce off of the boards and back to where Anderson stood when he took the pass. 17-10 to go in the third period. The Falcons with the puck up at center ice. Crampton just chips it in, goes for a change. Quick changing for the Falcons here too, keeping fresh legs on the ice and understanding that Michigan Tech will probably have to wheel their top 2 lines more often than not. 20 points for every single player in the top 2 lines for Michigan Tech. Steven Stardarian, Max Koskapirti, and Elias Janssen, the 3 highest scoring players. Fasciano couldn't dig the puck out. Koskapirti in the corner against Dom Ryman. He looks down south of the goal line. Couldn't land to Brody Waters. Duran still battling for the puck, right side. He's bumped by number 77, Steven Sardarian, the senior for Michigan Tech, the transfer from New Hampshire. 2 seasons played with New Hampshire. Not too much of a big score there, but as soon as he touched the Husky on his center of his chest, he really exploded offensively. 40 points this season for Sardarian, the St. Petersburg Russian native. Behind the net, Niedermeyer possesses the puck. 3 men inside the blue line for Michigan Tech. It's up at center ice. The Huskies play it on the boards, try to force it up into the O-zone. Prouty circles the puck around the forechecking Adams Linka. BG recovers. It's Stjernberg with solid defense. Up on the red line, Lepa takes it away. Tipped ahead by Bernie. BG to the puck first in their own zone, as they have the last 4 entries for Michigan Tech. 15:35 to go in the third period. 1-0 the Falcons lead the Huskies. 3 points needed for the Falcons, or at least 2. They need 5 to clinch home playoff this weekend. They got to do it against a team that they've had a bit of a rivalry with developing over the last couple of years. Bernie tried to center it, picked up by Wynot, up at the high slot and back to Wynot down the left side. He looks to poke it ahead to Minville, who's got it down the left wing. The freshman working in. He's bumped, and a clean defensive play by the 6'6" defenseman, Jack Anderson. He's been fantastic today for Michigan Tech, although he has not found the scoring column yet. Tyler Miller will fake wrapping it around his net and break it out to the left side in his own zone. It's Janssen ahead. Down the right wing comes Miller. Miller ahead, and offsides were the Huskies. Reinhardt just a little bit ahead. The puck will come back out to center ice for a faceoff. Bill McCult, head coach of Michigan Tech hockey, the bench boss for his first season here in the black and gold. Previously a head coach for Lindenwood. Just last season, 8-22-2. He finished last season with Lindenwood before being hired to Michigan Tech, where he served as an assistant from 2011 to 2015. Had head coaching stint at Tri-City, as well as associate head coaching stint at the University of Michigan from 2017 to 2023. Pretty decently high-profile coach that was hired from Lindenwood after a pretty poor season, but brought 3 very influential players with him, and a successful hire there for Michigan Tech hockey. Tyler Palmer covers up the puck in his crease, and we'll get a face-off in the O-zone for Michigan Tech now. But those 3 players, Bartoskevich and Jack Anderson and Joe Prouty, we've mentioned their 3 names a lot today, all on the defensive end. And where would this Michigan Tech team be without their big goaltender, their star defenseman, and a pretty solid stay-at-home blue liner as well? Bill McCall played 97 points in 256 NHL games through 4 different teams, and a 226-point scorer in 162 games played with Michigan from 1994 to 1998. Andreessen is going to have to try to get back to the puck first. He will, before the fast-skating Max Martin, who was gliding in toward the puck. 14-16 to go in the third period, and icing against the Falcons with fresh set of legs. Stjernberg kind of directing traffic for the Falcons out there, seeing how they're going to get the puck cleared with hopefully possession and be able to get a change. They have short change from their own zone now, which is a benefit in this situation. Kind of a detriment offensively for Bowling Green, which they want to put goals on the board. They're only up 1. That's not a big lead against the second highest scoring team in the CCHA. Stjernberg up to center ice. Zlinka back skating with the puck. It's ahead, swept ahead. And to avoid the icing, Martin was skates on the offensive side of the red line. Prouty lost the puck, center ice. Andreessen ahead, onsides down the left wing. His shot blocked. McKinley picked up the puck quick after he lost sight of it for a second. Down behind the goal line. He takes it into the left wing side. Picked off by Isaac Gordon, the captain, the junior captain, and a star in his freshman season with Michigan Tech 2 years ago when Michigan Tech won the Mason Cup. That team, a very high-scoring one. Rylan Mosley, the other player I very much remember from that team. A couple of Pietolas as well that were the bane of the Falcons. Blake Pietola, the goaltender, and Logan Pietola and Jed Pietola all on that team. 13:20 to go in the third period. Fasciano through center, the entry out to the right side. Van Blaricom, the pass to Lepa in the slot. Didn't land. 27 shots on goal for Michigan Tech now. All of them saved so far by Tyler Palmer. Up at the blue line, the block and a long one from Wynot. That comes back to Bartoskevich, who stops the puck and carries it behind his net. Fakes playing it out. Tyler Hodson on the forecheck. Up to the right side. Reinhardt nearly picked off by Dalton Norris, but it gets past Janssen and to Stjernberg. BG up through center ice. It's Jaden Grant with Tyler Hodson and Quinn Emerson just inside the blue line. A turnover. Reinhardt the other way down the right wing side. Offsides against Michigan Tech. Trembecki has to get back on. Bank pass up to Quinn Emerson. Feeds it into Hodson. Hodson into the corner. Circles back around to the blue line. Pass to the slot. Emerson tried it with Jaden Grant battling in the front of the net. Grant got his stick taken away by Anderson. Reinhardt up the right wing, fed into the right side slot, and it gets the puck cleared. Duran right off, goes for a check on Andreessen. Higgins in the corner, gives it back to his D partner behind the net. BG playing solid defense here in the third period. 12 minutes to go in the third. Have not allowed a goal yet to Michigan Tech. 1-0 the Falcons lead. Duran on the left side with Andreessen behind the net. He's got the puck on the left side corner and breaks it out to Latimer. Picked off by the Falcons off of the stick of Latimer. Cicek picked off the puck and tossed Stjernberg down to the ice, who had his feet kind of tangled up there. Left side Cicek, he pokes it off the board behind the net to Palmer. Palmer plays it out. D-to-D pass. Good passing by the Falcons in their own end. Dom Ryman, stick working around a couple of forechecking Huskies. They get a change. Ryman, plus side of the red line. Bartoskevich around into the corner. Koskapirti with Adam Zlinka behind the net. Miller won't win the race to the puck. It's Max Martin. Around and out to the blue line. The Falcons with it. Open ice for Norris. Now back down in deeper. Koskapirti with Morneau. Morneau in with Tyler Hodson in that corner. Adam Zlinka press back up. Here's Max Martin up to the blue line. Give away to Norris. Norris has a shooting lane. His shot blocked by Morneau. He and Max Martin in front of the net. 10:40 to go in the third period. Michigan Tech takes it up. An entry for the Huskies. Kaskapirti up at the blue line. He looks to give it up. Defended up at the top by Dalton Norris. He's a bit out of position. Now he'll get back and settle in. Jack Anderson, the 6'6", found a shooting lane and shut off by Bowling Green on a block. Kaskapirti up at the blue line again. Sardarian with it. At the blue line. Back to Anderson, blue line. The defenseman down right side. Parker tips it ahead. In deep for Isaac Gordon. Sardarian off. Here's Parker. Shot. Didn't get through. A save made. Palmer taken off of the slot by the Falcons. Here's Hodson. Ahead down the left side. Comes Quinn Emerson. And he'll peel off, go to the bench. Did his job. Take the puck into the O zone. 9:50 to go in the third period. 1-0 Falcons lead. Right side onsides is Bernie. He takes the puck into the corner. Pass to the slot. Picked off right tape to tape to Jeremy Minville, perfectly placed. Niedermeyer gets a bump in front of the Michigan Tech bench in front of Braden Bame. Bame, Davatilla, and Carson Latimer have not seen that many shifts here in the third period. To the slot. Why not with a slap shot as he was falling over and he missed the rack and Bartoskevich let it fly past him. 9:20 to go in the third. Up at center ice, Karodiak will go back and grab the puck. Back and forth for Michigan Tech and Bowling Green. A stalemate so far here in the third period. Ryman with a tip. BG will go in for the puck. It's played by Bartoskevich around to the right side. It's Reinhardt. Up to the left side, Janssen. Elias Janssen, the rookie of the year last year. 23-point score, 20 points this year. On the left side, Stjernberg doesn't make a mistake with the puck, as he rarely does. Fasciano the shot. Reinhardt up in front with nobody to clear him, but he never got his stick to the puck to try and bunt it through Tyler Palmer. Right side, Brody Waters in for the puck. Behind the net, Stjernberg recovers. Behind Palmer, lifted out to center ice. It's going to be cleared down to Bartoskevich. A beautiful clear by Stjernberg. Just glanced off the side of the pipe to avoid the icing, which the Falcons would have been pretty worse for wear after that. 8 minutes, 10 seconds to go in the third period. Up the left side, Bame. He works in. Gets poked away by Higgins into the corner. Good defensive play by the freshman defenseman. Known more for his offense, but he's been so solid defensively. You haven't even really missed much of the scoring ability that he brought in a couple of games this season. Last point he scored against Notre Dame, a power play game-tying goal for him in a shootout against Notre Dame at Notre Dame, and that was the last time he scored a point, last weekend of January. 7:40 to go in the third period. You hear the claps from the Michigan Tech students section, a solid crowd here in Houghton for this game and this series. On spring break go the students for Michigan Tech. Dorms close tomorrow at 10 a.m. So tomorrow maybe a bit thinner on the student side, probably much thinner on the student side. Besides some upperclassmen that just live in town. Anderson fires it in. Bowling Green with the puck, right side of their own zone. Grant skates it up the right side. One of the most hostile places to play in the CCHA is Michigan Tech. The three highest home attendance averages in the CCHA are Minnesota State, Michigan Tech, and Bowling Green. Minnesota State with a huge rink, but not the atmosphere of either the MAC, standing for the McKenna Student Ice Arena, or the Slater Family Ice Arena. And personally, for the first time here, I think the Slate is the best atmosphere in the CCHA, although this might not be the weekend to judge. Puck up into the ceiling, a freezing of play with 6:45 to go in the third period. And that'll take us, I believe, into our media timeout. This timeout brought to you by Juniper Brewing Company, located at 145 South Main Street in downtown Bowling Green, featuring coffee, craft beer, and serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. See the latest menu at juniperbrew.com. 1-0 the Falcons lead here on your home for Falcon hockey.
You are listening to Falcon Media Sports Network coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Ever heard of Falcon Media Sports Network's broadcast on Falcon Radio or WBGU 88.1 FM but don't know where to listen? Well, set down the radio, pick up your phone, and go to bgfalconmedia.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to stream Falcon Radio and WBGU 88.1 FM for all broadcasts.
Looking for a BGSU Athletics talk radio show? Tune into the Zig Zone every Sunday at 4 p.m., where a panel of Falcon Media Sports Network members discuss the hottest BG sports topics. Only on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Check out more Falcon Athletic coverage on X at BG_FMSN.
A lot of tight matchups between these two squads, Michigan Tech and Bowling Green, and a lot of these series with some big implications. 2 years ago, the Falcons, their second to last series of the regular season, they were swept by Michigan Tech. That was 3-1 and 7-0. And a downfall for the Falcons, that they lost 4 of their last 4 games, lost the 2 in the quarterfinal of the Mason Cup tournament. That too, Michigan Tech here in the McKenna Student Ice Arena. Now, a season later, last year, the Falcons split, technically, a loss and a shootout win against Michigan Tech at home in Bowling Green, the first game that head coach Dennis Williams played against the Huskies. And then they met them in the quarterfinals for the second straight year and swept the Huskies 2-1 in an overtime win first night and 4-0 in a regulation win the second night. The first time in 6 years the Falcons had won a playoff series at home. Sardarian in the corner. The Huskies and the Falcons played just to 1 goal through the first 2 periods. That was Dominic Ryman in the second, and that stands as the difference in the game so far. Breakaway Ryman up the right side. He was just at the blue line when he gathered the puck. He's got it on the right side now, forced it behind the goal line. Long reach for Waters. He tries to wrap it into Bartoskevich, and it's cleared away. Bartoskevich shut the goal off, and his defenseman came in there. Here's Sternberg. Good stick work to make the play. Up the right side comes Brody Waters after that beautiful recovery. Waters is grabbed by the shoulder and spun down. 6 minutes to go in the third period. Falcons lead 1-0. Picked off center ice, kicked ahead by Crampton. Up the right side, Morneau. He streaks in and gets the puck taken away by Parker. Behind the net, Morneau and Anderson. Anderson obviously wins that battle. 6-6 against about 6-1 of the freshman Noah Morneau. Zlinka up. Martin got a tip on the puck. It's now broken away for Michigan Tech. McKinley swats at the puck. Torches it free. Zlinka and Martin and Morneau up at center ice. Trembecki down the right side. Left it back for Reinhardt. Bowling Green right on the Huskies as soon as they enter the blue line. And they lift it off the glass and out to center. 5:15 to go in the third period. Bartoskevich forces the puck up. Right side, Reinhardt skating tired. He dumps it in. Norris gives him a check. Trembecki also skating tired. Is Lepa on the ice to play center for those two long skating forwards. Trembecki steps away from the puck. Prouty in the corner to dig it out. He does so to the Falcons. Hodson for the orange and brown up the right side. Emerson offsides. Hodson will have to wait a second. His pass into the zone picked off by Michigan Tech. They push it out to center as well. A check against Jaden Grant from Joe Prouty. The defenseman a bit bigger than Jaden Grant is. Certainly had the speed advantage there. Maybe a bit shorter than Grant, but more weight for Joe Prouty, and a senior just as Grant is. Higgins behind the net, wraps it around the net. Lepa in the corner, BG to clear. Off the glass, out to center ice. 4:20 to go in the third period between Bowling Green and Michigan Tech. Breck McKinley off the boards up to the right side. Lifted out to center, narrowly avoids the Jumbotron down the right side, and 4 minutes to go in the third period. Puck in the Bowling Green offensive zone with a 3-man forecheck for the Falcons. Big pressure on the Huskies, who still have not been able to sneak past the Falcons with enough intensity. They had a lot of shots on goal the first half of the game and really haven't had a high-quality chance since. Bowling Green settled into their defensive lineup, and they haven't allowed much since. Sternberg, the first back for the Falcons, gathers the puck next to Tyler Palmer. A lot of pucks in the offensive zone for Michigan Tech, but not a lot of shots on Palmer. It's been 28 shots on goal for the last couple of minutes for the Huskies. 3:30 to go in the third period. 1-0 the Falcons lead. Puck pinned up behind and to the left. Bartoskevich in the net of Michigan Tech. Emerson and Niedermeyer and McKinley out from the pile of bodies and sticks. It's won by Cicek for Michigan Tech, and as he takes it up the right wing. Pass, an odd bounce. Palmer just keeps it out of the net, as is his duty as goaltender, and he's done a heck of a job so far today. Prouty up to center ice. Grant can't go play the puck. He was heading off, and the man was already on, so avoiding a penalty there. Cicek blew a tire. The puck still at his feet. The Falcons skated away. Hodson up to center ice. Duran ahead to Latimer. Down the left wing comes Bain. His shot. Prouty will have to dig it off the boards on the right side. The puck battle won by Bowling Green. Duran up the left side. Latimer blows a tire. Now Waters with Duran. Waters looks to give it up. He's poke checked. Latimer up and Bain with the puck. He gains the entry through the middle. Braden Bain gets it taken away by Ryman, who clears it out of the blue line. 2:20 to go in the third period. The Falcons leading one. Only one stoppage since the first 2 minutes of this third period. We've been back and forth and even hockey, as even as it can get between these two squads. The orange and brown and the black and gold. Trembecki, the freshman, to the left side. Tyler Miller. Miller ranges in. McKinley defends him. Pokes the puck on the centering feed back behind the goal line. Back up to the blue line. Fasciano the shot. Minville to try and clear. Bowling Green still trying to do so. Bartoskevich looking over to the bench to see when he heads off. Fasciano with the puck. Back up blue line. Reinhardt. His shot goes wide left of Palmer. A nice shot. Good thing Bartoskevich was still in the crease as the Falcons look to clear, and they do so. Bartoskevich going to head over to the bench. It's 1:30 to go in the third period. Michigan Tech with the puck. They just need the entry to get the goalie off. Bartoskevich way out of the crease. The Falcons in the corner with Kaskapirti. The Falcons dig at the puck. Bartoskevich off. The sixth skater on for Michigan Tech. 1-0 the Falcons lead. $1:20 to go in the third period. Must need 3 points for Bowling Green. Must need points for Michigan Tech as well. BG's able to clear it out, but no shot on goal in the empty net. A minute to go. Nearly a turnover in the offensive zone. Falcons, Waters with a backhand chance is gloved by Anderson. A game-saving play there by Anderson with the left-hand glove. Here's Isaac Gordon down the right side. Michigan Tech trailing 1. 45 seconds to go. Anderson left side. Kaskapirti with the puck. Back to Sardarian up at the point. Back to Anderson, right side. The defenseman pass to the slot. Turned to be cleared away by the Falcons, but Michigan Tech gets it back. 35 seconds to go. Kaskapirti left side, back to Sardarian up at the top. Slap shot, Anderson. Kick save made by Palmer. Right side, Duran gathers the puck. BG to clear, can't do it away. Sardarian holds inside the blue line. Down to the slot. Morneau has a try, and he ends up just clearing it down. Wasting time is Morneau. 10 seconds to go in the third period, and it's an icing against the Falcons. He had no shot on the empty net. Sardarian was guarding the open crease. Bowling Green needs to hold on to 12 seconds for a 1-0 victory. And a timeout's going to be utilized here by Bill McCult of Michigan Tech. A heck of a game between these two squads. The Falcons with the only goal so far, Dominic Ryman, his 10th of the season, 4.5 minutes into the second period. Assisted by Sternberg, his first point against Michigan Tech, and Dalton Norris, his first point since his game that he was injured against Lake Superior State. Bartoskevich for Michigan Tech, the goaltender, 17 saves and a goal allowed. Tyler Palmer so far, 26 saves, no goals allowed, and 12 seconds to do something special. Bowling Green with 8 less shots on goal. Michigan Tech having dominated offensively, well, at least with possession here in the third period, but they haven't had many shots on goal to show for it. In fact, just 2 in this third frame. The Falcons with only 1 shot attempt and 0 shots on goal. You hear the applause for Michigan Tech trying to rally their troops. They need points just as the Falcons do. Bowling Green will send out Morneau, Duran, Ryman, McKinley, and Sternberg. Morneau will go into the faceoff, the leading faceoff man in the CCHA. And now back-to-back timeouts will be utilized. The Falcons will see who Michigan Tech put out, and they'll draw up a play to try and get maybe the empty netter or maybe a clearance or a pinup. Not surprising who Michigan Tech put out on the ice. Anderson, Sardarian, Koskapirti. Looks like Tom Lepa and Traden Trembecki as well. 1-0. The Falcons lead, 12.4 seconds to go in the third period. No matter the outcome, no matter the points, a heck of a game. But as Nathan Burkett back in the Cooling Center studios has mentioned a couple of times, does it really matter how well you've played as long as the points go to you at the end of the game? The Falcons 12.4 seconds away from a much-needed 3. Palmer back in the crease. Reinhardt, Koskapirti, Anderson, Tom Lepa, Taden Trembecki, and Steven Sardarian. Back up. 6 skaters for Michigan Tech, 5 for the Falcons. Lepa in for the faceoff against Jaden Grant. 1 back for Michigan Tech. Slap shot, Anderson blocked by Quinn Emerson. Back up blue line, Sardarian with 5 seconds to go. Shot in, high slot, shot over the head of Palmer. 3 seconds to go. Back up blue line. Anderson lost the puck across the blue line, and the Falcons hold on to a 1-0 lead. Tyler Palmer with his first shutout in the orange and brown, and his first shutout since March 1st of 2025. That with the University of Alberta. Bowling Green with 3 points toward the CCHA, a must-win game, and they came away with 3. And now they turn their sights to tomorrow, and at least 2 more points needed for Bowling Green, still in the search of home playoff in the Slater Family Ice Arena. Just a minute of break. We'll bring you back here to the John McKinnis Student Ice Arena and then send it back to the Cooling Center studio, who will have your post-game show here. Falcon Media Sports Network coverage of BG hockey here on WBGU 88.1 FM.
BGSU Baseball continues their first MAC series of the season on Saturday, March 7th at 3 p.m. against the Kent State Golden Flashes. Falcon Media Sports Network's Noah Seeley and Adam Duffin will have the call for the game starting at 2:45 on Falcon Radio. Always streaming live on bgfalconmedia.com, your home for BGSU athletics, news, and updates.
BGSU women's basketball heads to Mount Pleasant on Wednesday, March 4th to play the Central Michigan Chippewas at 6:30 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's Trey Kennedy will have the call on WBGU 88.1 FM, your home for BGSU women's basketball.
Whether the Falcons are at the Slater Family Ice Arena or out on the road, the Falcon Media Sports Network is covering them all season long.
Last game played for Dominic Ryman against Minnesota State as first career shorthanded and game-tying goal. Well, today he gets his third career power play goal and his first career game-winning goal. That came 4.5 into the second period, his 10th of the season, assisted by Sternberg and Dalton Norris. And that was the difference in this game here in Houghton, Michigan. 1-0, the Falcons beat Michigan Tech. Today's stars of the game brought to you by Bill and Karen Hoffert, longtime BGSU hockey fans and Falcon Club members. Third star of the game, Bartoskevich, Owen Bartoskevich for Michigan Tech. He played a fantastic game, 17 saves made, 1 goal allowed, and 1 goal should normally get you the win on any other night. But the way the Falcons played defense and the first star of the game should tell you why he's just the third star. Dominic Ryman, second star of the game-winning goal for the freshman for the Falcons. Also had 2 shots on goal, +1 rating, a face-off 1, and a block to Dominic Ryman, and fantastic shifts today. And then the first star of the game, Tyler Palmer, 26 saves, 0 goals allowed. a shutout for Tyler Palmer for the first time since March 1st, 2025, when he was in an Alberta uniform. Now he's in the orange and brown, and he's got his first. So a big decision to be made for head coach Dennis Williams tomorrow in the second game against Michigan Tech, whether to put out who's been sturdy since the start of 2026 in Cole Moore, or to put out Tyler Palmer, who's shown that he has the hot hand against Michigan Tech this weekend. Send it back to the Cooling Center studios in just a moment for Artie and Dan and Nathan to wrap up our coverage today, but make sure you do tune in at 6:07 p.m. tomorrow here from the John McKenna Student Ice Arena. Falcon Hockey's Game 2, and they need 2 points in order to clinch home playoff. That would tie them with Michigan Tech. They own the tiebreaker over the Huskies in that scenario. So 2 or more points tomorrow are mandatory for Bowling Green to make sure that you at home can drive and go see the Falcons in the Slater Family Ice Arena come playoff time next week. Falcons with a 1-0 win over Michigan Tech here in Houghton, Michigan. Now sending it back to Bowling Green and the Cooling Center studio. Take it away, guys, in just a minute.
Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU Student Media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Bowling Green Baseball heads to Kent, Ohio to take on the Kent State Golden Flashes on Friday, March 6th at 3 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's Tyler Cavalets will have the call for the game, starting at 2:45 on Falcon Radio and always streaming live on bgfalconmedia.com, your home for all BGSU athletics news and updates.
Falcon softball plays their second doubleheader of the Make It Happens Games tournament in Madeira Beach, Florida on Saturday, February 28th, facing Albany at 12:30 p.m. and Colgate at 3 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's Dawson Pelter will have a recap of the games on bgfalconmedia.com, your home for all BGSU athletics news and updates.
Welcome back here for the final time, the post-game report here on WBGU 88.1 FM here in the Cooling Center studios. My name is Artie Brago, once again joined for the last time by Dan Ryanauer and Nathan Burkett tonight. So, Bowling Green picks up the 1-0 win against Michigan Tech. Bowling Green gets 3 points. So we talked about it heading into this game. BG needed 5 points heading out of this weekend. They've gotten 3. They need 2 more. So they need to pick up 2 points tomorrow night against Michigan Tech. Guys, what a game this was for Falcons. What a game for Tyler Palmer. Gets a shutout win. No goals allowed. What a game for the Falcons. And what a game moving forward heading into your last game of the season.
Absolutely. This is something to build on. Mentioned they need 5 points. They need to finish off the sweep tomorrow. So if you're a Falcon player right now, as Coach Wu will probably be telling them in the locker room right now, and as well as going into tomorrow, feel happy for yourselves right now. Enjoy the victory, but it doesn't mean anything for tomorrow.
Absolutely. I mean, enjoy it for the moment being, but once you go on the ice tomorrow, this game's meaningless. You just got to go out there and do it again, and it's going to be hopefully a repeat for the orange and brown. That's what they're anticipating, but beyond that, there's really just more games to be played. There's really just the final one, and then you're right back at it. You're going to see either you get that 5th seed and you have to go on the road to either Michigan Tech or Minnesota State, or if you're able to get that host, if you will, then you're kind of looking possibly a Bemidji, depending on how they do. Michigan Tech, Minnesota State has some outliers as well. So you kind of got the first. You kind of got the first foundation. You got to build on that for tomorrow, and also credit too Tyler Palmer just getting his first shutout since he was at Alberta since March 1st of last year. So I mean, credit to him. It's got to feel good to get that under your belt with 23 saves. But we'll see what tomorrow brings.
And such a great job of the Falcons on defense today. You know, really protected their goalie. Didn't get Michigan Tech didn't get a ton of shots on goal in that third period. Only got 4 shots on goal, as well as Michigan Tech. Number 16 heading into this game, just couldn't really get that output going that they wanted to. And they had chances, early in the first period, as we mentioned multiple times. They had a lot of chances, and they almost got one to go by. But, that obviously didn't end up counting in the stat sheet. But just sort of a rough game for them, especially, later into this season.
Again, it really goes down to the Bowling Green defense doing a good job breaking up plays, blocking shots when needed, not letting Michigan Tech into a rhythm.
And to think about a team that's second in the CCHA for just the amount of goals that they've allowed and the amount of consistency they've had in goal scoring, to just shut them out is a phenomenal feat and really just credits them. I mean, that's the 90th goal they've given up all season as well. So more known for, I guess, scoring the goals than giving them up, but really just to be able to find that back, get the Tyler Palmer, I guess, momentum going. It's going to be a good lead for tomorrow.
So we do have to pick a player of the game. So I'm guessing the consensus in this room among anybody that it's Tyler Palmer.
It's Tyler Palmer.
It's Tyler Palmer, yeah.
This really begs a question for tomorrow night of, do you start Palmer again or do you give the nod to Cole Moore, who's been playing very well in the back as well?
I mean, Cole Moore, he did let one go by against last time out in his last game. He did have a rough weekend, I should say, in general, against gotta go back in the Minnesota State. Minnesota State, he had obviously a 5-4 loss to Minnesota State, and then the 1-1 tie, but a loss in the shootout against Minnesota State as well. But I do believe in that second game, he performed very well. I was in the studio for that. He made a lot of key saves. He made a lot of key saves in the shootout as well before he let one by. So
it went to extra rounds.
So he had performed very well. So between these two guys, with the way Tyler Palmer played tonight, with how Moore's been playing, I don't think there's really a wrong choice here. It's just a matter of what Coach Williams is kind of feeling heading into the matchup.
I'd probably give it to Moore just for the fresh legs. But, again, Palmer definitely making a case for himself for why he deserves to be in net. And now the real question is going to be, in the event that Steinman can get healthy for playoffs, who do you start? I feel like we've been asking Coach Willie this question all year long, and they're making it hard on him going into playoffs.
I mean, they settled in on that comfortable Steinman, Moore Steinman sort of lineup that they were working with. So you got to think, if Steinman were somehow to get help, again, we don't know the extent of his injury, but if he were to somehow get back in time for plays, you think they might want to return to that. But Palmer playing really well here tonight. That's going to throw some questions into it. But you can't go wrong with 3 strong goalies, depending on the output from here.
Also, if I'm doing the math correctly, that is BG's first shutout season.
That it is not, because Cole Moore got one earlier this year.
Oh, that's right.
But
that's right.
I mean, still, first one of the year for Palmer. Good feat nonetheless. I mean, obviously a shutout doesn't happen every day, so
still an accomplishment. Still a great accomplishment.
Second shutout of the season.
Especially this late in the season when you're going up against the number 16th ranked team in the country. So, and one of the best teams in the CCHA. We're top 3 heading into this. So still a great accomplishment. So that is what probably going to just about do it. But before we do that, we're going to do one last look around the CCHA here today. So still a couple games going on. Ferris State and Lake Superior State now tied 2-2 with 3:41 left to play in the third period. That one will be coming to an end soon. Also looking around, heading into the end of the second period, Northern Michigan and Minnesota State tied 1-1. And also winding down the second period, St. Thomas down 2-1 to Bemidji State. So those are a couple of key games that you can look out for, even though our coverage of this night is ending. Also, we'll have more broadcasts on Falcon Radio tomorrow. Men's basketball will be broadcast on Falcon Radio. I'll be on that call with Tyler Kavlitz. And hockey will be back here. Ben Korak will be back on the call at 6:07 tomorrow night for Saturday. So the series will conclude. Make sure to stay here on WG 88.1 FM tomorrow to watch that. But that's going to do it for us tonight. For Ben Korak, Nathan Burkett, Dan Reiner, and myself, wish you a good night, and thank you for tuning in.